And we are live. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Trench Grenade channel. I am your host, the average. The Leviathan is dying because we killed it. Live stream enjoyer that your mom says that we have at home. Thanks for watching. Guys, tonight we will be joined by Bones Maloney of the Bones Maloney channel, Uncle OG, and Protraban. What is going on, my dudes?
Not much, King. We're happy to be here. Happy to be making GunTube a better place, one dead bad company at a time.
Yes. Thank you very much for inviting me back. It's always a pleasure to be in such good company and talk about wonderful topics like cringe shit going away. So, looking forward to this.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Trench. Sorry I was touching grass, but great to be here. And yeah, we will get it going.
Yes, thank you everybody for joining. This is the OG crew. I just want to say for guys watching in the future and for chat that is joining tonight, hit the like button. That helps out more than you guys know as we are trying to defeat the algorithm god. And obviously, we are sponsored by absolutely nobody other than the members of the Patreon and by you guys supporting down below. So leave a comment if you watch this in the future. Hit the like button tonight. And if you want to support the channel monetarily, join the Patreon. And I will link each and every one of the guests in the description down below. So that way you guys can go and make sure you're subscribed to them and support the work that they're doing, as we are only supported and paid for by you guys, the members of the audience, right? And without further ado, the first thing I want to cover tonight is John Lovell. Okay, I want to talk. I want to tackle the controversy of the gun community, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts on what is the gun community in your words. Is there one? Is there not one? And then I want to transition into John Lovell, because the John Lovell Warrior Poet Society defenders are some of the most annoying individuals I have ever had in my comment section. So whoever wants to take a stab at it.
I'll say the gun community is a very extremely broad term because you've got guys who are, just fuds who like to go shoot clays on the weekends and deer hunt. Those would be, gun community, I guess. You've got pro 2A absolutists. You've got guys who like to go out and train, do to build, and a varying level of community involvement and politics in it. So, like, on a very core, like, the gun community, sure, it exists in theory, but there's much more specific, smaller groups within that, I think.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I would agree, Bones. The gun community I think is very much still alive and well. I think we wouldn't really be making these sort of videos or seeing a huge uprising in new content creators, if there wasn't a strong grassroots support of the original, GunTube community. You know what I mean? So, um, I think yes, absolutely, there is one that is alive and well, and I think it's still pretty tight knit. Um, but I think we're seeing a sort of a pendulum swing where it started as like this commercial endeavor from the gun industry, which is always going to be there. But that was where a majority of content came from being on like TV and shit like that. And then YouTube came around, and then we have the grassroots gun community making content for the community. And then, like I said, this pendulum is kind of starting to swing back in the same direction, where you have a shift of like these original content creators becoming commercialized and selling out and being cringe and gay, and the community as a whole is against that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's soulless. It's very disingenuine, because it's like everything I want to watch, they're always trying to sell me something. You know what I mean? So the pendulum swingeth back in the other direction, and now the community is taking the fucking YouTube platform by the balls, all right, and securing it for the boys.
I agree 100%. I think the kind of the op that people try to put out there is, oh, well, there is no gun community, or we're so divided, or all this. We are not really too far apart. If you talk about like average mainstream people, we're
Hmm.
not really that far apart from each other. And one of the ops that they want to put on people is this divide and conquer and say, that's how they kind of control the group, is by splitting it up and making it smaller. So I agree, OG. I think small channels like this, without, patting on the back too much, I think are literally the future. And people see that the big ones are kind of selling out and they're losing
Yep.
credibility, much like the mainstream media did with Every Night, brought to you by Pfizer, all this stuff. So I
Yep.
think independent is the future, and authenticity is the currency of the new world that we live in.
I mean, I don't think so. This is what I would ask you guys: is some dude in Chicago that's about to go that owns a gun? He stole it. Is he a member of the gun community because he has a gun?
No.
No, it definitely
No,
goes way deeper than that.
But I think
And it's not.
that is the surface level that a lot of the guys in this comment section, and not necessarily my comment section, but just in general, they find themselves in, well, they're a content creator, they own guns, they like the Second Amendment. I don't think that's enough anymore. That might have been enough in 2010, in 2013 when GunTube kind of started taking off. But nowadays, just because Uncle OG is a content creator, I'm not necessarily going to default. As a matter of fact, I think the pendulum has swung so far in the opposite direction where if I see you're a gun content creator, you got about 2 minutes worth of whatever you're about to say, and I'll either say, nope, that guy's cringe. Like, there's a ton of guys we're going to talk about tonight, but Warrior Poet Society I think is a perfect example because guys will say he's a Christian, he has his own Shadow Systems pistols, and he's a God-fearing man or whatever. And he was in the army, so all of a sudden we have to like him. And as a matter of fact, I hate to spoil it for everybody, there's a lot of people that have worn a uniform, whether it be law enforcement or military, that are cringe, that are anti-Second Amendment, and they should not be listened to or respected, right? So I think that's kind of what the camp that I'm in, where I don't, just because you know one of you guys release a video, I'm not necessarily going to be like, oh my God, it's the best thing ever. I support him. No, it's actually, I'm going to listen to what they're saying and then make the judgment.
Yeah, there's the kind of acting in good faith and good morality is really what I think drives a lot of what is the core of the quote unquote gun community. And I think people do try to muddy it a bit by adding bad actors or disingenuous people and saying, oh well, it's the gun community. It's like, well, you can say that because there's similar things, we have a similar interest, but it doesn't mean we stand by the same things.
Yeah. I mean, look at it like this, okay? This sort of like you said, Trench, the surface level assumptions of somebody who is in the gun community being their qualifying factors is that they had a job where, holding a gun was part of their fucking career, or, just having a gun in the house and fucking doing whatever with it automatically makes them a part of the gun community as a whole. It's like, well, let's kind of, change the substance of that idea. It's like, does having a car make you part of the car culture community? You know what I mean? Just
That's a
because you
perfect
drive one every
example.
day to go to work, it's like, okay, well then let's look at it a layer deeper. You know, fucking somebody like John Lovell, fucking, his main prerogative is, selling you something. You know,
Literally.
is a car salesman anymore in the car culture, or is he just trying to make money?
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. I've even had people tell me they're like, you should be a salesman. Why? Well, I don't know anything about cars. And like, oh, you don't need to know about cars. It's like, yeah, you could be a gun content creator and to make money and advertise and not know or care about the Second Amendment.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. And I'm gonna, I guess, use my dad as an example, right? He may be watching this. Who knows? He is a retired law enforcement officer. OG. He's been in a lot of my videos lately because he has a lot of knowledge and passion for this stuff, and he loves getting in front of the camera and just talking to the guys, talking to the audience, and hey, this is why he liked 40. He served with 40 for 16 years as a law enforcement officer, so like he's been kind of not indoctrinated, but he has a lot to bring. But to kind of show you what I'm talking about, he always tells me, son, Stop going after people in the gun community. Stop going after Colion Noir. He's a lawyer. Leave him alone. He might sue you. And he says things like, don't go after, oh, who was it? GBRS. Just leave him alone. And I have to say, Dad, just because they own a Glock doesn't mean we see eye to eye. As a matter of fact, if they're dangerous to the community, I love it. I'm kind of like in the camp of Ben Stager. When I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh my God, this guy said what? I love it, dude, because then it's like it gives
This
me an
bro
opportunity.
just posted cringe.
Yes, posted cringe. And that's kind of what I tried to explain to my dad is like, and Nighthawk all the time, because she's like, just focus on tactics and rifle marksmanship and stuff. And I'm like, I wish I could, but if no one says it, then you're gonna have Colion Noir doing a bed video with the caption literally reading, when it's corrected, let me know, with some cringe in chat, literally with his script in the description. That's not genuine. That's not good for the community. That is slop, right? So that's where my mindset is right now. At the content creation space on my channel is, hey, if tomorrow, Protraban and I are boys, but if tomorrow he comes out and says some crazy stuff, ask him. I'm going to DM him. Like, Protraban, how many times have I DM'd you about something that we disagree on?
Yeah, and I love it, Trench, because I love the feedback. But going back to the idea that Colion, these guys GBRS, are above reproach or just can't be criticized because they were SEALs or they passed the bar is just ridiculous bootlicking. I mean, imagine where we would be if nobody could give or receive any criticism in our community. That would be ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. How many times has a massive gun manufacturer come up with an absolute, dog water firearm? Oh no, wait, guys, it's Big Sig. They have government contracts. We can't talk bad about them, okay? You can't
be
get
that
into that
bad.
mindset.
Dude, the military service thing.
People fear accountability.
Yeah.
So I was looking this up today for law enforcement, right? Because there's this also a thing in kind of the law enforcement community of like, there's an understanding if you go into a rural area, the training is significantly decreased, the funding is decreased, the expectation. Yeah. So I want everyone, and I want the audience, as we lose everyone's video, I want the audience to kind of think about this for a second. Oh God, I'm alone. Okay. I want the audience to kind of think about this for a second, where it's like, just because a law enforcement officer is a cop, does that mean they automatically get ultimate pedigree? Absolutely not. So why is it when someone was in the infantry for 3 years or was a SEAL, right? Even at the high level of being a Navy SEAL, you don't think they have a top 10% and a bottom 10% that they don't like? Even if it's a top 1% and a bottom 1%, there are dudes that are wearing crossed rifles, airborne wings, Ranger tabs, Navy SEAL tridents that are shitbags, period. And just because they wrote a book, look at Tim Kennedy. Just because you wrote a book doesn't mean it's real. So.
Yeah, it puts a negative connotation into people who do have some degree of experience, whether it be military and law enforcement, and try to share that in a way, because you get a lot of bad actors who try to ride that and hide behind that as listen to me because I did this stuff. And even recently I went to a training over in Indiana. Guy was doing a medical class, old SF dude, had been in maybe 10-15 years ago, and I'm listening to his medical class. And it's not inherently bad info, but it's super dated, and he's just saying stuff that isn't right. Just very incorrect information that is very easy to find out with a little bit of research and keeping up to date. And I tried not to be an asshole about it and correct him all the time, but many times I was like, yeah, that's not how that is anymore. He was claiming that they still use crushed eggshells or seashells and quick clot. And I'm like, we haven't done that in like 20 years, man. It's just not how that works. So they get a lot of outdated experience, but since it's the last thing they knew while they were in, they just fall back on it and preach that till the end of time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, look at guys like Dan Crenshaw. They call him Eye Patch McCain. Guy's incredibly unpopular for various reasons. But he falls back on that. Yeah, there's some shitty guys that go through the service, just like everywhere. There's shitty people everywhere, unfortunately. And evil really hates sunlight. So to say that you can't call stuff out, I mean, we would still be doing teacup grip on the bottom of our 1911s if
Yep.
we did grow as a community. So
Put them up. Yeah. So, and to answer the question, right? To be very specific about John Lovell, he came out in a 35-ish minute video basically taking the side of the brothers who are objectively wrong, and we're going to go over some of the T-Rex stuff here in a little bit, but he took the side of the brothers who are objectively wrong. He leaned on his military service and his religion specifically on why his experience and why he's right morally and ethically. He made really creepy comments about, well, that person's wife is a beautiful person and beautiful personality. And just the choice of words that John Lovell uses and this kind of pastor, I'm holier than now approach, that is why people don't like John Lovell right now. That and mix of the shadow systems and the just gun slop content. Like he, during the midst of all this, instead of responding to like the focus trip stream and responding to people kind of asking him like, what the hell was this about, Mr. Lovell, he posted a how to make your SIG P320 safe, and it was just him shilling for his own shadow systems product. So
oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he's like, "How do you make a SIG safe? Buy my gun. It's my version of SIG." And it's like, "Oh, thanks, dude."
And it's I know it's like so often people are like, "Well, give me the facts, post receipts." This is not all I'm saying is I don't like him. If I was at a party that he was at, I would just talk to him. And if he brought up GunTube, I would say, Mr. Lovell, I don't like your content. I just don't like you. I don't like you as a person. And a lot of people are like, well, you have to like him. He's infantry just like you, Trench. No, I don't like him. I don't like his business model. I don't like his creepy pastor vibes. I don't like the way he talks. I don't like the way he brings on a third party or a second, I guess, another party to be his moderator in the chat that he's having a discussion and forces him to agree with whatever he says. I don't like him. That's my take on John Lovell. I just don't like him as a person. And I think that's acceptable, right?
I think that's totally fine. I mean, just saying that you have to like everyone at a party is a little bit ridiculous, right? But yeah, John has always been an interesting guy. He's kind of had like the happy-go-lucky vibes, like, oh, I'm a nice guy and all this stuff. And that just rubs people the wrong way. And I really hate to say it, but when you're talking to somebody and the second or third thing out of their mouth is like, hey, I'm a good Christian. It's like, okay, why do you feel the need to tell me that you're such a good person? Like, straight up. That's weird.
Yeah,
definitely odd vibes, for sure, I would say, from his channel in general.
But I think what's more important is people blindly supporting him. And
yeah,
my comment section is people that are like, oh, what happened with Warrior Poet? They're asking, but they're so, like, reserved. Like, what? My pearls. You're going after my pearls. Warrior Poet is the best ever. It's like, no, he's just a man.
Yeah.
He's just a dude that wants to get paid.
Exactly. That's kind of the way I see it, is like, I can't really make comments about, him as a person or anything like that. I haven't really been paying super close attention to a lot of his content lately, just because it's like, trying to avoid this T-Rex fucking debacle is like, trying to not get wet in the rain. You know what I mean? Like it's
Dude,
kind
I
of
love
just
it.
every at this point. I know, and that's okay, but it needs to be talked about. You're absolutely right about that. But it's like the only thing that I could really say about John Lovell, whatever, is he definitely just kind of gives me like that Colion Noir vibe of just like everything leads back to just getting paid at the end of the day.
Money
is taken, everything is calculated to be just buy my shit. That is all. Support me no matter what. You know what I mean? It's I don't know. It's just fucking disingenuous. I don't like the constant salesman attitude. You know what I mean? And if your shtick is, trying to, for on purpose or not, fucking, be like, I'm a good Christian man, I support fucking uh good conservative beliefs, Western beliefs, fucking, which, I think generally speaking we all do. But then it's really out of character when he's just like, well, maybe Lucas Bakken, wasn't completely in the right. And it's just like, what the fuck is this like 180-degree fucking sort of like, take? Yeah, it makes you ask the question like, how much stock do you own in T-Rex Arms, big dog? You know what I mean?
He
Why don't you show us the fucking receipt?
he brings up that he is
Exactly.
close. He brings up that he's close with the families, but
Mm-hmm.
but Lucas Botkin struck back and said, "That's crazy. I haven't talked to you in over a year. We've never been friends. What does it mean to be a friend?" And what's hilarious, Lucas is loving all this because Lucas, like we were talking off stream, he said his part. He said the truth. He stepped back, and guess what? Everyone else
Yeah.
did the rest. And he DM'd me yesterday. He thinks this is hilarious. If you have to have four people sit in awkwardly, imagine all of us
Oh
sitting
yeah.
here. Everyone give us your best executive. Let's go, Uncle. Get on your Uncle Oji. Welcome to T-Rex Arms. We are sorry. We are men of God, but we grew 10%. 10x our company. It's like, what? So,
Yeah, and Trench, I'll
Yeah.
just add to
I've been
too.
told to say that the
yeah.
Bible said that it's good to forgive your enemies, um, and that patience is a virtue.
We didn't
Anyway, we're not going to sell the company. We hate you. Goodbye. You know what I
we
mean?
didn't do anything to wrong Lucas, but if we did, he deserved it.
Basically, he overreacted, bro. I mean, come on. Like,
Dude, that he took. So I guess we'll get into the T-Rex. So I guess to close out the Warrior Poet thing, I don't know about the other members of the panel. I just don't like his content or him. Has he made good content? Yes. He has made excellent content. Has he made slop content? Yes. He made one man room clearing. Anyone, if you encourage one man room clearing, you're a fucking clown. Get out of my face, okay?
No
So
thanks. I choose life.
yes. So and the problem, I guess, to kind of give my closing thoughts on John Lovell, if you release a one man room clearing video, you say in the video it's dumb, but you can attend this course with my buddy who instructs it. And today I'm going to go over some things from the course. I immediately, it's unfortunate, I can hear boomers and fuds go, John Lovell said I can do it, so I'm just gonna get my shadow systems and do it. I just don't like him. That's all my take is on
yeah,
John Lovell. I don't like him.
Yeah,
yeah,
and
he is the monopoly man in the fucking gun world. You know what I mean? He can sell you anything relating to fucking guns, whether it be training, clothing, guns themselves, fucking videos, information. You know what I mean? The fucking podcasts, like it's non fucking stop. Every time I'm watching something from this guy, I'm being sold something, and it's just like, god damn it, dude! It's just GunTube is just turning into a fucking commercial marathon. You know what I mean?
yeah, and
Well,
let's
not
go back
anymore. We're
to
doing something about it.
uh, his video, John Lovell's video. Um, accuses Lucas of having autism or being on the spectrum. Says he's a bad manager. Okay. And this was one of those
Mm.
great examples where sometimes it's better to just not say anything at all than try to defend this company. Now, I think he obviously got the call from Jeff Botkin because in that video, he says, I'm really close with Jeffrey Botkin. I homeschool my kids as well. And so that's the whole kind of homeschool world that he kind of brought him into, it sounds like. So to me, the video was very obviously, hey, I got a call, dude. Please try to save our dying company. We need anything you can do. And so that was his attempt, but I think it backfired big time.
Yeah, talking yourself into a fucking grave. You know what I mean?
And
Yeah,
I think.
I don't want to. Oh,
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say in the early days, what like 2 weeks ago, in the earlier days of this T-Rex Arms thing, it was like I think guys saw an opportunity, one for content slop creation. It's fun. Ben has been honest about it. I'm honest about it. Focus Trip's been honest about it. Protraband's been honest about it. It's slop,
Dude, I
but
love it.
it's fun. It's fun to call out idiots, okay? But as the dust settled, I think the guys that jumped on the other side that may or may not allegedly have gotten a call like Colion Noir, like doggone Warrior Poet, John Lovell, guys that may have gotten a call from the brothers say, hey, we'll give you, who's to say? We'll give you $5,000, $10,000 to make a video. Who's to say? Maybe more. You don't necessarily have to join our side. Just say some nice things about me, allegedly.
Make nothing statements the whole time. Yeah.
I think it's much simpler. I just think he's buddies with his dad. And, I don't know how you do that video and claim to be a friend of Lucas. Say, yeah, he might be on the spectrum and he's not a good manager. I don't know how that makes you a friend to Lucas.
Yeah.
It's weird. The whole thing is like... Also... Go ahead, Brones.
I was just going to say, it's also like, if he was a bad manager and stuff, like, you're tacking on little, like, hits on his character, but ignoring the fact that he founded this company. Like, the whole reason it exists is because he's there. And I understand the other people, they brought assets to the table. But if you, getting just down to the core of it, like, you could say whatever you want about Lucas. Maybe he doesn't play well with others. Oh, who cares? He is the reason why the company's there, and you screwed him out of it. And now you're trying to be like, actually, you kind of suck, and we're better. So we're going to take this from you, take my little brother's stuff, because we legally can, and phase you out until you don't want to be a part of it anymore. Like, it doesn't matter how much you want to say he's autistic, he's not, productive member of the team. Dude, it doesn't matter. You stole his company from him, essentially, I
mean, just because you're a Marine retired lieutenant colonel does not give you free points to take over the company and say whatever you want. Now, as a retired Marine lieutenant colonel, you should not refer to another man ever as playing in the sandbox. That should never, those words, he doesn't play well in the sandbox, that is disrespectful. Okay, so
there's a childish way to state that type of get to that point. Yeah.
He could have said there were disagreements that in regards to idea, or in regards to ideas, direction of the company, in regards to human resources type things, and the way way to communicate with each other. But that guy really set me off on my video that I released yesterday, because they're saying we need a third party, we need someone with experience. During the first 90 days of command, you are not authorized to make any change for a reason in the military, in the Army specifically. In the first 90 days of responsibility or command, if you're going to take over as a sergeant major, a first sergeant, a platoon sergeant, or in his case, a battalion commander as a lieutenant colonel, you're not authorized to make major changes, to fire anybody, to hire anybody, to switch people positions, or change the direction of the ship. So the fact that at 3 months, which is exactly 90 days, he has his assessment. I know it's so petty that he waited 3 months, because I know he's my type of people, but he's not on my side, if that makes sense. I know why he waited 3 months, and it's dirty. It's dirty.
There's a comment too that somebody had mentioned, and they said maybe it's because Lucas acts like a child. And now you can make that statement, and I could see where the crux of your argument is. However, if Lucas acted like a child, you would, in theory, in that environment, want to mentor him, want to help him work better with others, help him mature as a human being, that type of thing. There was no, Lucas, we felt that he was immature. We attempted to help him. We attempted to, grease the wheels, make this company work better, anything like that. It was all just immediately, he doesn't work well with others. We don't care. Goodbye. I get the family counseling thing. It's like, it's also a very demeaning thing to say too. It feels very disingenuous that you had any intentions to make the situation better.
If you go back to the video too, thank you, sir. Well, if you go back to the video too, it was very clear that not only did they not think he deserved this or earned this from the beginning, but he was gimped from the beginning with that contract, because he's at 50, the other guys are at 25 and 25, and then right below that it says any major decisions everyone has to agree on. So he was gimped from the very beginning. And if you look at what Isaac said, he said he used the family tools to make his holsters. I don't know if you guys caught that, but he said like, oh, the family tools. Like, okay, so you own everything he did with those tools?
Not only that,
come on, get out of
it. David said we were all naive. It was a 2-page document. Wrong. because in the 2-page document that, okay, so a lot to unpack with this. They lied about the timeline. They didn't include the actual events that occurred. They only include events that make them look good, period. So David, I guess you have no character right off the bat, right? The first thing I believe he said in that is, well, we started it in 2014. I came on for free. He referenced that. I was just helping him out because it was a lot of work, right? We were building everything by hand. And at the time, we were all naive, but my bunker selling project and me selling Doomsday Bunker isn't working out. So now I'm going to come over and become 25% owner of T-Rex Arms. That is fucked. So to come out and say he's naive, the whole thing is dirty. It's disgusting. Saying that they can't find a job for Kara Botkin. Let me tell you a secret. If I make trench grenade arms tomorrow, Nighthawk is getting a fucking job. She's not going to do what she's doing right now anymore. She's going to be a member of the team. That's the first part. But if then Uncle OG gets married and his wife needs a job, if she has no skills to bring to the table, she can literally be the customer service rep. Cool. That's it. She can help manage the books, dude. Something, whatever. She can go over there and she can put freaking lights inside of a package and tape it up. You know what I mean? In the mailroom. But what you don't do is go, we don't have any room for a chemical engineer. I'm a Marine Lieutenant Colonel and I know everything there is to know about manufacturing, business, and everything because I went to a 4-year degree. Maybe not even that. I served in the Marines and now I'm qualified to not hire the founder's spouse. So
Yeah.
It's not a good look, and it's like I'm going to speak a little outside of my area of expertise here for a minute. I don't know what it's like to own a company. I know they were doing very well. All right, they were making a lot of money, which is awesome. And I'm sure she didn't want to do a menial task job. But at the same time, I can't find a position for you. It's like, dude, you can be creative and create something for her. She doesn't have to make $1 bajillion. You don't have to maybe pay her the industry standard for a chemical engineer. But that's something that you can easily facilitate doing rather than just being like, well, we're making all this money, but we aren't not gonna help you out because we don't want to give up some of this, this profits we're making to employ someone who maybe isn't essential. And it's like, awesome. Thanks, guys. That's really cool.
Yeah, and what
there's always been a constant. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, Lucas said Kara would work for free. His video. So
Okay.
I mean, the right thing that you do is you find a place for her, right? I mean, the other guy's wife is working there. I mean, how much does she really know about holsters? I think that's a fair question. So yeah, sorry, OG, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say there's it seems like it's just been like a constant attack to try and like disenfranchise Lucas and his wife. You know what I mean? By any means necessary to try and like stupefy him so that it's like oh, we were like doing him a favor, coming in to fucking help and shit, when in reality it was just like this big fucking hijack job.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That he literally started from the ground up and that he invited them in to fucking help. You know what I mean? If Lucas Bakken wanted to, I'm sure he could have absolutely ran a fucking tight ship. You know what I mean? But he wanted to fucking help his family out, and he brought his fucking family in because I'm sure he thought he could depend on his fucking family to not fuck him over the way that he did.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Remember who really started this war going back? T-Rex was the one that released that first message saying someone close to Lucas got inappropriate pics, knowing full well where the speculation would go from that, in my opinion. And now this latest hit that they've released where they're saying Lucas doesn't want prayer at work. I mean, let's be real. That was chosen and released specifically because they think that will hurt Lucas with his base, the Christian religion gun owning, right? And it's not. People are seeing that, well, hey, Lucas is a religious guy. If he didn't want whatever prayer they were having going on at work, it was probably because it was some weird thing going on, probably for a good reason. So it's just backfiring again on them.
Well, look at Isaac.
Oh, go ahead,
So Isaac, Isaac said, they stated he joined the company to work for free, but they paid him through giving him ownership. That is dirty, very dirty, because they're painting Isaac Botkin in a light that he's the good guy. I'm the good guy. Don't fucking pay me. I'll just take ownership and stake in the company. So fuck you, Isaac, and fuck that statement. Also, I have so much to unpack. Go
Go
ahead.
off, King.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I've totally lost my train of thought. But to say that Isaac is going to join and he's not going to get paid as much as he would based on his position and merit, but we're just going to give him a part of the company and then he betrays his brother. That's fucked.
When there's two statements here. Anytime a person, a group, this can be a government, this can be a business, anytime they take the approach of nothing ever happened, but if it did, they probably deserved it, that's how you know, hey, something's not right here. If they're gonna say that, we didn't do anything, this was not our intent, but if we did, they deserved it. That's kind of the vibe I get from this. Is the whole like that's how it feels to me. And anytime you identify that, a quick little life hack for you. If you identify that, you see that mindset, it's usually not a good thing. And then to double back, something else we could talk about is when I heard this. Now, just brief context. Not a very religious individual. I don't judge anybody religiously. I'm very morally based. A lot of my values line up with Christian values. Awesome. When I heard, we're very based here. When I heard they were like, well, we wanted voluntary prayer, but Lucas didn't want that. I went, wow, that sounds like a really adult, mature decision for Lucas to say, that's fucking weird. We're not doing that. If the company was founded on it and it started like that and he wanted to take it away, okay, I could see maybe, why this thing's been a good thing. Why do you want to take it away? But it introduces so much for a potential hostile workplace environment where this very voluntary thing now becomes informally involuntary and you get judged for not doing it. And it's just a very unprofessional thing to do. I don't think it's inherently bad. I just think that when they said it and they tried to paint Lucas in a bad picture for doing it, I went, no, he's being an adult, because one or two people might not want to do this and they're going to feel ostracized for it. It's just not a good business practice if you're not founded on it. I'm curious your guys' thoughts.
Yeah, like I said before, it's just a constant attack to try and disenfranchise Lucas, you know what I mean, by any means necessary. Take every single action he takes and paint him in a bad light. You know what I mean? Like you said, regardless if it was for a good or a bad reason, which I mean, everything that has been good that happened at T-Rex Arms has been Lucas's doing. You know what I mean? But
Dude,
it's his fucking company.
They made him. They reduced him to marketing manager, not an executive. So that is the first red flag. Okay. Isaac also got removed from his executive position. Why? 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 No, nothing about that. Man, the prayer thing. Let's hit this from an organizational standpoint. You don't want to pay people, regardless of the job, to pray at work. Regardless of your religion, regardless of your background and ethnicity, doesn't matter. Race, creed, gender. You don't want to step onto that legally. In the Army, they do, like 1500 and on is SFRG on Fridays, right? But there's a very negative connotation that can be created. If you don't have family, if you're not married, you don't have kids, you're going to continue to work until 17. Everyone else, come on over and hang out and have cake. So Lucas, very based, by the way, said, that's fucking weird. This isn't a cult. I don't like the cult-like behavior. And another thing to say, so very based on Lucas, another thing to say on all that, the number of times Mr. Noor and David referenced taking a moment to pray at their house with their wives is so weird to say in a video to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, to say, well, we reflected on it a lot. Well, it's funny. You prayed a lot, but you didn't fucking think very much because you're kicking the founder out of the company and you're making 2 videos justifying and you're trying to paint Kara in a light initially that she's cheating on Lucas. That is what they fucking tried to do. They tried to say she received explicit material, so why? The average dude, unfortunately, in 2025, is going to think, well, did she encourage it? That is what fucking happened, right? So for them to come out and say, we're sorry, but he didn't play well in the sandbox, but we're sorry and we're men of God. How about this? Fuck you. How about that? Like, I don't like you.
I'll say I know Protraban has something to say about this. I'm sure. The one thing I'll add is just that it is from somebody who wasn't super closely tracking the situation right away. When they're like, "Yeah, somebody sent explicit photos to Lucas's wife, and now he's leaving." Everybody was like, "Oh man, Lucas's wife is cheating on him, and he found out." Oh man, I was like, "Oh really?" And then it's not that at all. And it's like, how do you not
Mhm.
like have hopefully one singular at least AHR person to be like, "Hey, maybe we don't say that because people are gonna take it the wrong way." But go ahead, Proch. I know you had something you got to say.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, watching the whole video, the village people look a little different. I don't remember them having quite that style to them. But the whole David North thing is like insanely weird vibes. I mean, no offense to him. And sometimes I do feel like you can start to judge a book by its cover, at least a little bit. Just the whole thing of, oh, I'm praying for the brothers. I had a vision for these brothers. It's creepy. And you have in the contract, too, that I'm sure you guys also noticed, if you get exiled from the church, you're out of the business. What? So,
That's
what
yeah.
about forgiveness for one? And then the other thing too is they gimped Lucas from the beginning, saying, "Hey, you're only going to make, I think it was 60K a year in profits." And then after
Bruh.
that, it gets spread. Like, why are you gimping him to that level? You think that's all he's worth? So the whole thing stinks, dude. And yeah, Colonel Sleepy on the left, Nor with the curly hair. David with the predator eyes, and then you've got Isaac on the right. It's just an interesting looking group. And yeah, let's be totally clear too. Like you guys said, the reason they leaked that Lucas didn't want prayer is because they are still trying to hurt him, like they've been doing with Kara from the very beginning by insinuating that she was sexting other employees. So the whole thing's really kind of disgusting.
If
So
you know, oh, go ahead, Trent. Go ahead.
so I have the timeline pulled up here, and I want something I noticed right away. They put the revenue in gray. This is what the audience is seeing it peak around 2020 when they moved out of the family group. Oh, you guys still got me?
You're
You're a
breaking
little
up.
choppy right now.
That was weird. Okay. Hopefully they got me.
Uh-oh.
Hello?
I mean, we can hear you. You're just very like you sound like you're coming through a staticky TV right now.
Better now? He did it quadruple. It massively increases. It massively increases at 2020. So the picture that they're trying to paint.
Well, dude, the reason it probably skyrocketed in 2020 is you had Summer of Love, right? With BLM burning down cities, and probably without the videos Lucas had made up until that point, they wouldn't have had that huge following or response. So,
Yep, and the
my prediction.
to double back to a little bit on the whole like demeaning of character, that's something that if you know a bit about like lawyer tactics and courtroom stuff, where they're trying to win over a jury, what a defendant or prosecutor will do is they will attack the character of someone to try to get the jury or the court of public opinions to take a second guess and go, well, actually, do I believe them? It's designed because it works in courtrooms, people, to where maybe they aren't 100% in the right or wrong or whatnot, but they're going to layer in these little attacks to be like, well, actually, maybe these brothers are kind of right because Lucas kind of seems like a weird dude. Like maybe what they did was wrong, but maybe Lucas kind of deserved it. So
Exactly.
a side note there for everybody.
No, you're exactly right.
Trench here?
I'm still here. I'm trying to let my.
Alive?
There's a thunderstorm here, so I'm trying to let my internet kind of buffer for a second. You guys still got me?
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you. I think
Okay.
the stream's still up too. So
Okay, yeah, we're good.
We
You
are
guys are
good.
good. I'm gonna go check something. Keep discussing.
all right, Kings.
I thought
At this point, the way T-Rex is, I wouldn't even doubt it. They're doing everything they can.
tech guy, big brain.
Why are there 3 full-size white vans with antenna dishes out the back outside of my property right now?
Yeah, all pointed at my house.
Yeah, I'll point it at my house. Yeah. What other kind of points do we have for since we're on the Lucas Botkin T-Rex Arms Stinkfest going on with their response video.
Well, I think what's crazy is the more we hear these people speak, the more people are siding with Lucas and saying, "Dude, bro, escape the cult."
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
yeah.
Every response and every video just kind of makes that more clear. So when Kara says, "Hey,
Got
yo, what I
a
got?"
little drive-by beer delivery. We're
Ooh.
I don't know what the fuck this is. This is double hazy IPA. And
Let's go.
we got a Zen delivery. Look at that.
Well, really, that's Dr. Pepper because you're in a car, of course.
Ooh.
We would never
Yeah,
break
Care
any,
package.
Oh, yeah.
laws or anything.
This isn't even. I'm not in a car. This
That's
is
not a car. That's his
CGI.
home. That's where he lives. I'll add that I'll play devil's advocate a little bit here and say I give these guys credit for coming on and showing their faces and trying to put information out. It's just like it shows that it's not really working for them. It's not really improving the situation for them, and it's I try to be like, well, at least they're addressing it. At least they're bringing up. It's like I don't even know if that's even like relevant to say they're trying to, they're not trying to own the situation. They're trying to control the situation.
Yeah, it's damage control. Exactly.
Yeah. In a very odd way too. I thought like I get nerdy dudes, whatever, right? Maybe they didn't talk to somebody about the optics of how it would look. Which I think they had to, because the way they structured the video is very, we did nothing wrong, but if we did, Lucas deserved it. But to have your 4 dudes sit very uncomfortably behind their, what I'm going to assume are multi-million-dollar machines, is kind of like the rich millionaire sitting, in his garage with 3 Lamborghinis being like, guys, money isn't the most important thing in my life. It's like, okay, it's just not really the most humiliating thing or a thing of humility to project yourself with. So, whatever. I'm not in their shoes, whatever. Just some points that I've kind of thought of. But I know you're going to say something, Approacher Man.
Well, OG too. I think maybe we could go in order, like past the talking stick, just so we're going straight. No, I was and think about the visual too. Lucas is in a gym, and these guys are in a huge facility, a little bit bigger than I would have expected, to be honest. Nice lighting, a nice camera. Lucas is just like raw dogging it in the gym. I think it's perfect.
It really is, yeah.
Perfect parallel.
Well, and he even said he made a statement.
You got anything, Uncle? Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Go ahead,
sorry.
Twitch.
Oh, yeah, so he even said...
Is it Mimi turn? Is it Mimi turn to say something?
Well, I was just going to say, Lucas said he made a statement.
Whatever order
I don't have much to say about Lucas, so go ahead.
Yeah, he said he wrote up a statement, but he just threw it away, basically. Like, it was too long and too insincere and not focused on the points, so he literally just threw it away. While these other guys did the opposite. They focused so heavily on the narrative, and they lost the forest for the trees,
And I don't think they realize how what they put out actually kind of hurt them, because in that video, unless I'm wrong, General Sleepy confirmed that they took 2 months to actually call Kara back or even talk to her. How much do you hate someone to not even follow up for several months after you read the fucking resume in the staff meeting? I'm sure they were reading it like, oh yeah. I'm sure it almost sounds like they just kind of read it as a joke, because how do you go from that 2 months later, I'm sorry, we have no position for you, ma'am? So they very obviously hated her from day one, and that's just kind of sad to see. It's family, and I don't know, this kind of interesting dynamic exists where David married David Noor's wife. I believe they met in New Zealand, and then David Noor just kind of became a friend of the family. So there's just kind of an odd dynamic that exists. But yeah, then you have General Sleepy on the left who came in, and then Lucas saying, well, I would fire most of the executive team. Dude, I would too after watching that video. Those guys get it.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I was...
And they have a vested interest, they're... Go ahead, Trent. Go ahead.
Unfortunately, it's too little too late. These guys, they show their true colors. They showed what's been going on behind the scenes. Just looking at that chart as I've been sitting here dealing with this connection, trying to get it back and running for everybody, I think we're looking good now. But just looking at that
Good.
chart and seeing
Yeah.
them, basically the way they're trying to articulate is our earnings 10x right when we took it from Lucas. It's like, okay, cool. Your earnings 10x when you took it from Lucas. But think about the average dude watching this. You know what I mean? If you could go back in time, I guarantee you they would have sold the company to Lucas. I guarantee it. If they could just go back a few weeks and like, hey man, I don't know, he's got the skinny jeans. He's the one that's been running around on the flat range. He's the one with all the political takes. Maybe we just let him keep it. It's literally his baby. If he wants to run it into the ground, do it, and not come out here and say cringe ass fucking shit like we are on mission. We're still on mission. We're not going to abandon the mission and everyone goes home happy. Yeah, everyone goes home happy except for the fucking founder and his wife who you allowed to be sexually harassed and didn't punish the person responsible appropriately.
Yeah, and now they're gonna
L
fucking
takes
they took the
boo.
gamble. They took the gamble of saying, well, we're gonna fucking white knuckle the company and hold our stake and kick out the fucking founder. And now they're gonna run the fucking company into the ground and they're gonna make nothing off of it. They could have just fucking sold out, had their shares bought out by Lucas, who he literally said, he's like, they were like, yeah, no, we had conversations about him buying us out of the company, and we care about our employees, aka us, fucking, and fucking, they wanted to protect their own interests and protect their own share, thinking that they could fucking run the ship without the captain. You know what I mean? But now the fucking captain done fucking got off the boat and went somewhere else, and the crew's following him. You know what I mean? So fucking now they're in this predicament where they're trying to salvage a fucking sinking ship. Literally, I don't understand why I'm doing all this nautical fucking imagery, but it just makes sense. Okay, my smooth brain. So fucking and fucking but now they're trying to literally fucking keep the sinking ship afloat, and they're going to lose everything now. They're going to lose everything. Their shares are going to mean nothing when they go fucking bankrupt.
Dude, they lost.
Dude, the only way.
I was just going to say they lost 60,000 subscribers in 2 weeks, right? And then they lost 20,000 subscribers, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. They lost 20,000 subscribers in 1 day. In 1 day, they lost 20,000. If you're subscribed to my channel, I straight up told my audience, don't support them. Like, based on their character alone, like, yeah, the product isn't going anywhere. I hate that. Guys saying the product isn't going anywhere. Okay, let's talk about Cry Precision. They're right now. I would not support Cry Precision. They're in the same boat, right? For other reasons we won't have to go into. But they're making a bet. They're cutting corners because they know people are going to buy it based on name Cry Precision, right? So at this point, yeah, the tooling is still the same. The Kydex, I wish I had a holster to show you. I do. It's right here. Boom. The Kydex, yeah, it's the same. Oh my God, it's the same. It's so based for this airsoft staccato holster. Okay, but don't that's what you're gonna support, dude. Imagine you're having Thanksgiving. They're in your family. They come over. What are we gonna talk about? The fucking weather? Because we're not talking about the company because you fucking stole it.
Yeah, as legally is in the right they in theory were. Morally, it ain't it, King.
Yeah, guys, we legally took 50% and all
Yeah.
things. So, yeah, I think the only way this ends is with Lucas and Kara getting T-Rex arms back for pennies on the dollar. I think that's the only way you're going to salvage T-Rex. They're making this video and releasing the things that we've talked about. Just to me kind of shows they feel like they're in a corner and can't do anything else. It shows a little bit of desperation. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Jeff Botkin, the father, actually come out after this latest attempt failed in an attempt to right the ship. But let this be a PSA to companies. You don't actually have to say anything. Sometimes it doesn't work. Like, there's a SIG thing. But sometimes it's better to not say anything at all.
You could have had, brother, I know Focus made a joke about this, but you could literally have had Focus Strip do a 5-minute video and him say, Yep. Welcome back. We fucked up. It's not good, but guess what? We're going to keep making holsters. We're sorry. We're fucking assholes. Lucas, you're the fucking owner. We're going to keep making them until you get back in. You can come back in. You're the owner. We're sorry. That's it. Kara, you're number 2. You're in charge. And that guy, we're suing that
That's
guy for sexual harassment. We're going to sue him into the earth. Boom. There you go. Whether it
that's
works,
basically.
Focus
Sorry, I
would
didn't
have
mean to
been
cut you off. Okay.
for in this example in this fictional world. Focus could have been like, and we're not going to talk about the Bible because it's irrelevant. It's a business. We're not going to talk about religion,
Yeah.
the Bible. We're going to talk about whatever, and make a joke and cut. Leave it. And don't say another word
Yeah.
ever. We fucked up. We're sorry. We're going to go back to making Kydex. And that's it. We fucked up. So,
Yeah. Yeah, Grantham did he kind of did that exactly, and I think that's what I won't say exonerated
Grantham did not do
from
that.
the
He did not do that.
what do you so
He's been
when
arguing
when
with
it
people
came out
even
that he was
now.
a fucking freakazoid.
Yeah,
I haven't seen anything from Grantham
Twitter.
say like even
It's
addressing
just
it.
his Reddit. It's his Reddit, right?
His
Reddit
Twitter,
account.
his
He
X
posts
account.
on main.
He does this weird thing where he posts cringe. His like, ooh, look at this gun. It's in my arm, and I posted the picture of it.
Mhm.
And then someone will be like, oh, well, how's the family get together going? And then he'll attack that person on X. But now, and he's denying it
Really?
still to this day.
Mhm.
Grantham has not admitted anything. He's a bad person. He's a piece of shit.
Because the reason I was bringing that up is because like the comments sections on his videos where obviously the people are poking fun, alluding to the Grand Cum conspiracy. Fucking, it seems like he always just kind of leaned into it and like he just went along with the joke, like, yeah, it is what it is, and
Brother.
you know what I'm saying?
But he
But
did it
never
first.
addressed it directly.
So
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. There's some of the comments where he'd be like, someone would be like, how's whatever's going on? And he's just like, yeah, it sucks, man. Yeah, like that's it.
Yeah,
to cover the Grantham
Go ahead,
thing,
Josh.
he literally go to his ex-wife's or soon-to-be ex-wife's Instagram and look and scroll. Let me know the first time you see a picture of Mike Jones. Let me know. And the fact that has occurred and all of the dad advice, dude, it's
Yeah.
okay. I'll even say this. It's okay to be a degenerate if you don't brand yourself as the dad, the religious dad.
As a holy man.
He
Yeah.
branded himself as the religious dad and got caught. That's all that happened. He could have been doing all this freaky shit to the side, and maybe dudes would have just laughed and been like, that's weird, but cool. But the opposite happened. He for years painted himself as the best dad in the world and then got caught. And then he did exactly what guys like freaking DJ Shipley do with the SIG, and he gaslights and attacks his audience.
Yeah, for any business students watching, you're getting a free masterclass on how to not handle crises from SIG, from T-Rex, and from Grantham, who I feel really bad about. But yeah, he kind of did that in the worst way possible, because at first it was like kind of joking about it, egging it on. And it was, oh, you guys, this is really getting to my family. It's really hurting me. And then it was, well, this was a woman I was talking to after. This is the latest. I don't know if you guys have heard this. I know, Trent, you have.
Bro, he lied three.
Latest theory.
He lied 3 times right off the
This is
rip.
a woman I was talking to on Reddit who then sold my DMs to make me look bad. It's just like, dude, give me a bone. Give me a 2 cents. Give me the time of day, right? Like, your audience is just a little bit smarter than that. Just own it, dude. Liz, like Ben Sager said, if you come out next Sunday and say, yeah, I'm straight, I like chicks, good. Get back to the video so we can all move on, right? But it was just
I kind of was coming at this from the stipulation of just seeing the beginning happenings. I didn't really see the development that you guys have.
Unfortunately,
I kind of
it's my
keep my nose
part-time
on
job.
this shit.
And unfortunately,
Yeah.
outside of the Army, I do this for fun. I used to just go and shoot and edit that up and do reviews on guns, but this is so much more fun. This is awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Doing the gun stuff, the tactics, and the drama, it's awesome. And then I get to talk to my son every day, Bones. It's awesome, dude.
Hello. He is, yes. Trench is the greatest dad ever. And Focus Trip is the greatest mom ever. But my mom is actually in chat right now. Focus Trip is the YouTube channel of my mother. So go ahead and hi, Mom.
Listen, if we
What
were
would that
gay,
what would that make me?
I was gonna say you're the uncle. You two would be the uncle.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
uncle. You're the uncle. Yeah.
And dude, that would be the most dysfunctional. I come home after a 14-hour day of yelling at my students, my candidates, and Focus Trip is over there making a highly edited, like not ASMR, but like the 4K, stuff that he does for his gun reviews. And I come in and I'm the abusive father, and I get in a fight with Focus Trip right away. And go to your room, Bones. Garand Thumb's not welcome in this family. No family of mine. Your mom's been fucking Garand Thumb again. And Focus is like, he's a nice man. We needed money for the AC.
Oh my God.
He knows how to listen to my feelings.
Jesus.
Let me tell you about your mother.
I've got to hide the fact I watch Kentucky Ballistics, and you're like, we do not support Leviathan group in this household.
No son of mine's watching Kentucky Ballistics. And Protraban comes over for Thanksgiving and Uncle OG, and they're just like, how's your dad been doing? I know he's been drinking a lot with the live streams. And you're like, it's out of control. He's gone off the deep end about the Ruger RXM. He won't shut the fuck up about it.
He's making me make a video on it right now.
This dynamic we're describing, this weird kind of gay dynamic that we're describing, is still a better functioning family than the Bakken family or the fucking Mike Jones family. So fuck you.
Boom.
Oh yeah, got him. This is the recipe.
Yeah.
There it is.
There it is.
There
Clip
it
it.
is.
Clip that, chat. Okay. Do we want to transition?
Yeah. What's next, King?
Just like most of
horse
America's
to bed enough.
youth, transition over to
Damn.
have we covered Chilion Noir yet? Mr. Chilion
We
himself.
very briefly touched on it, but we didn't get into it. No. Let's talk
Just
about
as
it.
a heads
Let's
up,
talk about it.
I am running somewhat out of time before I have to disconnect. So after this next topic, I'll probably have to make like a banana and get the fuck out of here.
Okay. I see Focus is here. If anyone wants to jump in to replace Uncle OG, just DM me and we'll figure it out. But let's talk about Colion and his. I got to be very, very careful with my words, and his surrounding associates, right? I went through the list of Leviathan Group members, and of course, this is all speculation for entertainment purposes only. We would never attack a group with such power and overall control of a market such as the gun space. We would never attack Leviathan. This is all for entertainment. But if I were to scroll on said website to see names such as I don't know, Military Arms Channel. And then, to see Colion Noir be the literal first person on that website, that tells me everything I need to know about you. Getting paid is getting paid, but I'll pass the talking stick over.
I think that there are. Because I absolutely agree with being speculative and critical of like these giants in the gun tube space where it's like clearly they're getting fed sponsors, clearly they're getting funneled products and shit for review. You know what I mean? It's the business of being in the managed gun tube space where you belong. You're a fucking slave to the Leviathan. You know what I mean? But I have a hard time being critical of all of them. I think that there are some that definitely play into their hand more than others, while others still are able to maintain some form of legitimacy and authenticity with their content and with their character. Honestly,
I mean, Donut
like the
Operator's
first one
on
that
there. I like his stuff.
Mr. Guns and Gear. He is a fucking Leviathan. As far as I know, he's a Leviathan.
Yeah.
I don't know what you would call it. Employee.
Goon.
He's one of their.
Yeah.
Well, isn't a Leviathan a snake? A large serpent? So he's one of
like that.
He's one of
Yeah.
their snakes. Some of their snakes are good.
Yeah,
Some of their snakes are bad. Some of them rhyme with Iraq
he's a
Veteran
cool snake.
8888 and haven't made an
Yeah.
original video in
Wow.
4 years and are go to the gym every day but are obese. Make that make sense.
And then another one that I really honestly I can't find any fault in is Honest Outlaw. That's another one that is a Leviathan group associate, but it, I mean, the dude seems like a cool guy, you know. Fucking PewView also, fucking.
The problem
I
with
mean, they're
Honest
basically neighbors in
Outlaw
rival
isn't
school.
anything specific about his content or about him. It's about his content. What he says in the videos are 99.9% true from what I've heard. He'll say things like
Mhm.
the Shield Arms Plus is a good gun, but he does it in a way that is clickbait as fuck. I know I clickbait, everyone clickbaits, but I just don't like it. I wouldn't say I dislike it. I would say I would never go, oh my god, let me grab my mouse. An Honest Outlaw video just dropped. I would never do that. I get more interest out of
Yeah.
a Ben Steger. If I see Ben Steger right now drop a T-Rex Arms did it again on my other monitor, I'm leaving my own stream to go watch because it's hilarious. I'm just kidding. But I would never do that. Like, if I see a Protraban video that says something hilarious about SIG, I'm watching that instant click. It's instant click. It's instant like, dude. With Honest Outlaw, it's like if I'm stuck in the gym doing my cardio, something that Iraq Veteran 8888 needs to figure out because he's posting all this lifting stuff, but he doesn't know what he's doing apparently.
Lamau.
Yep. If I'm doing my cardio and I'm out of focus trip, Bones Maloney, Protraban, videos, fine. Okay, I'll click this outlaw video. Yeah, number 5 is the Glock 19 because it's like
Yeah.
fuck,
Number
bro.
7 of the best
Look,
go-to
I just like his
rifles.
review videos. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he makes good reviews that are, you know, authentically tested. That, you know, generally speaking, like because he isn't afraid to post a review where he fucking dogs on the pistol. You know what I mean? Like
It's
he's
B
done that
class.
before, and that's
It's C class.
it's B class. Sure,
I'd say it's C plus to
You know
B
what I'm
minus
saying?
class gun tube. It's honest. He shoots. It's a crazy concept. He actually shoots the guns. So like
Yeah.
goobers, they need to take a note from Honest Outlaw. Like you have to shoot more than a magazine through the gun. So Honest Outlaw is shooting a lot more than one magazine through the gun. He's actually testing it. He competes. I would say he's B for based, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But guys like
would
What do you
agree.
got? What do you got, Protraban?
yeah, go.
I mean, it's right there in the name. Is part of the draw is he's honest, right? The fact that you have to say that says a lot about the industry that we're in. The most offensive thing about Honest Outlaw is that he has the same intro from like 10 years ago. It's like, come on, Outlaw, let's cut a new one together.
Oh,
okay?
you're
It's been long
right.
enough.
I never even thought about that. It's the
Gets me every
explosion
time.
of the
Hey.
tannerite, and he's like, do.
Listen,
Ah.
I will be
I guess
using
it's
the
a hood
same
classic
intro
at this point.
as long as I live. I don't care.
Dude, I stopped using intros.
I'm
You're
not
good
making
based.
another one.
I don't think you need an intro. I don't think you need one.
You think so?
I used to do the
I
go ahead. I was just gonna say I used to do
Oh,
the Russian bass bump bump
Yep,
bump bump, and then I was like, why am I doing this? They know it's a trench grenade video. They're here to just hang out. So why am I gonna put this on every video? And one dude commented, he's like, me and my family danced to your intro. When I saw that comment, Nighthawk and I went, no way. And we literally
No
stopped
way.
adding. I stopped adding the intro after that. I was like, that is weird, dude.
What? Oh
I
my
think
god.
the purpose of an intro is for your first time viewers. If people are discovering you for the first time, it's like I can edit. This is a polished thing. I am established. I think that subscribers who like to watch your content don't care. So I think it's a useful tool. I don't hate them.
Yeah.
I don't have one because I feel like I don't really have the desire to throw one together right now. But I get why people use them, and I also get why people think they're not mandatory.
I don't know.
You know what
It
would be
takes
hilarious?
no effort whatsoever to skip through a fucking intro. You just double tap the fucking screen 3 times and then
If
the
you
intro's
have
over and
premium.
then you're in the video. You know what I mean?
If they don't have
What
premium,
do you mean
though.
if you have
skip through it.
premium?
Yeah, I could skip an
I'm
intro.
talking about doing
still.
that.
But they might get an ad, is what I'm saying.
That on mobile.
Oh,
well,
okay.
yeah. Well,
You know what would be
luckily,
funny?
you know, for small fry like us, we don't have ads on our videos yet. You know what I mean? We're doing this out of fucking love for the game. You know
Give
what I
it
mean?
6 months, dude. In 6 months, if
Yeah.
you're watching this or if you're in the panel and you're struggling, like, because it's a mental battle. I know. Ooh, mental health. It's a serious thing. If you're making content and you get 10 views, you're like, holy shit, dude. I just went out and sweat my ass off all
Yeah.
day to get 10 views. It sucks. But if you do it consistently and you do it long enough and you're genuine, you could end up in one of two camps. You could be a goober's idiot, or you could be a freaking Protraban showing the truth about Sig. You choose, right? Don't
Very based, very humorous.
don't meet your heroes.
Yeah, I think
Imagine
I'll
being a
never get.
little. Go ahead, Protraban.
I think I'll never get signed to a huge brand deal just because of that alone, which is fine for me. I don't need that. But I think the thing about Leviathan that was so creepy for people as you scroll down that webpage, it's just like, whoa, this is every single, practically, big creator that I follow on here. And it's just like, whoa, they're all part of this advertising network. It's just like most people don't see behind the curtain like that. And it's a crazy thing to comprehend that literally everyone, all these different channels, and become absorbed into this thing. I think people just find it a little bit creepy. It's kind of like this is extremely dangerous to our democracy supercut that those news stations were battling with a while ago. So I don't know.
Yeah.
And not all advertising is evil, right? Not all advertising is bad. Although I will tell you the dirty secret with a lot of it is there's a reason you need to advertise.
Yep.
Like you just don't have the
Yep.
word of mouth. Like Block does literally not need to advertise. They do a little bit. But the other brands have more to gain from advertising because they need to be seen in some way. And that's kind of the dirty secret of it.
Glock is one of those companies where if you see a Glock advertisement, you're for Glock specifically, or like Leupold. If I see a Glock ad or a Trigicon ad or a Leupold ad, and honestly, I'm like, why? Why? You make the
Yeah.
best optic or the best handgun. Why are you at like no one needs you to tell them. If I see another, I'm gonna make a video tonight on why the Glock 19 is the best gun in the world, and it's gonna be all the points that you've heard 5,000 times, probably 50,000 times, and I'm gonna publish it. I'm gonna be super serious. I'm gonna act like I'm the first one. But if
That's awesome.
they're a known quantity, I'm gonna make a video and I'm gonna put Protraban's face over mine, like roughly, not like perfectly, so that way all you see is Protraban the whole time, and I'm gonna do the intro as Protraban.
It's funny you
Excellent.
say that because I'm literally editing a video right now, absolutely demolishing the fucking the Glock
Big
handgun
Lizzie.
as a whole.
Really?
I fucking
Good luck with that.
yes.
I look forward to seeing
Dude,
this.
I don't need it. I don't need luck because I got lived experience, baby. I've had fucking 10 Glocks and I've gotten rid of all of them. I'm getting rid of number 11 right now.
You,
Hell
you
yeah.
are
I
the
just can't
exception,
stand
not
it,
the
dude.
rule.
I fucking hate them. Dude, I know, but it's like I'm just being honest. I'm being genuine. You know what I mean?
It's good to
I'm
get people's
talking about like
experience.
I fucking hate it. I fucking hate them. I can't stand them shits.
And it's good to give your experience on things, especially even if it's established, because it's valuable input of, like you said, lived experiences and knowledge.
Yeah.
And doubling back on the advertisement stuff, I understand you do have to get your name out there to a degree to start things, sure. But I tell most people that are thinking about buying something and it's advertised on YouTube, and I tell them 9 times out of 10, if something's being advertised on YouTube, it's probably garbage. Now, it's not always, right? But most of the time it is. And that's unfortunate that that is the case. And a lot of the really big companies that do the advertisements, like Despop talked about it briefly. I forget with who, but he talked very cordially and cautiously about a Leviathan group and what they paid him for a review on a product that he didn't really like to begin with. The video so happened to, go crazy, get tons of, it blew up on him. And Leviathan Group, I understand they were in a contract, but he was locked into that contract. Only got, as if the video got like 3,000 views in payouts, and it got like, 300,000. Just not really an amazing company to work with or work for.
I remember that video very well, actually. And
Okay, yeah, you remember.
one of the things Deskpop illustrated is that it's actually really easy for independent creators to go out and do these brand deals on your own. You don't
Mm-hmm.
really need a Leviathan. You are the benefit to them, because then Leviathan goes to these shops and says, hey, look, I got 40 people right here that you can do for this. And they sell you as part of a package deal. And then also keep in mind, we're kind of getting into advertising world here, but the agency will take a commission of that, sometimes 15%, sometimes more. So the advertisers' dollars are going less far,
Yep.
and then the subject themselves are receiving less of that, because we've got to pay for the overhead of the agency to keep the lights on. It's just kind of like an old 1950s kind of mentality. Right?
It's like labor pools and stuff, you know.
I just saw a comment that I got to call out because this is the dumbest thing I've ever read of the day.
Let's hear it.
He said the only gun tuber who is not a shill is Stager and Flannel Daddy, of course. Flannel Daddy.
Bruh.
Flannel Daddy.
He's like the biggest one.
Is Garantham in the room with you right now? You can tell us. Blink twice if he's in the room with you. Flannel Daddy is not a daddy anymore because his kids got taken from him because he's a bad father. How about we talk about that first? So his children aren't with him. They're in the custody of the mother because she's a good mother and it wasn't out banging everything within 50 miles, okay? Or for him, everything within the reach of over a million, several million subscribers on YouTube, okay? Let's get that out of the way. So don't come into this chat and defend Garantham or I'm going to roast your ass, dude. Oh my God.
All right.
Trench, you're a
that,
sellout.
what
you got, King?
I'm gonna make my partings here. So if there's a base
Captain?
fucking YouTuber that wants to, take my spot, gentlemen. It's been fun and it's been real. I'm sorry that I had to cut it short. I'm at a pool party thrown in my honor, so I have to.
Oh hell yeah!
Wait, hold on.
attend.
You've been sitting in the car allegedly with the green screen. Hold on.
Yes.
You've been sitting in the car at a pool party for you, talking to us.
He's committed to the grind.
Everybody in chat, give him a heart. Everybody, watch the chat. We need all the hearts in the chat for Uncle OG. He has been.
Find this man's channel. Subscribe to him immediately.
92 degree heat in my CGI car with the fucking mask on, sweating my cock and balls off right now. Just fucking talk to the homies.
Well, we respect you.
Go
Thanks for
talk
coming
to some
on.
women. Get out there.
Yep. Check the description for Uncle OG stuff. Give him a subscribe. Hit like on all of his stuff. Unless you don't like his stuff, but at least give him the opportunity. Go over there, check his stuff out. If you like it, then like it. If you don't like it, then don't like it. I mean, get out of here.
He's a very funny dude. Very, very good comedic takes.
If you don't like it, don't tell me because I have a very fragile ego.
Yo, what
anyway,
if your top video is just hate? Like, Trench Grenade said to come over here and like it. I don't like it. Fuck you. It's like, no.
Kill yourself now.
I'll never fucking recover emotionally. Alrighty, y'all. Thank you very much. I'll fucking TTYL.
Alrighty. Alright, moving on to...
You guys know which GunTuber
Go ahead.
You know which GunTuber I can't stand is this OG guy. He's in the pink hat.
He's in the pink mask. He comes around here thinking he's part of the crew. He's not even a part of this community. No.
Oh, we love OG. Got good build at the pool party, styling.
Mm-hmm.
It's great stuff.
Something to talk about. Two gun things before we get into more drama. If you guys want to talk about a couple gun things.
I'm ready for it.
The first
I love
one
guns.
is the Prodigy. I want to talk about the Prodigy as a product, not I guess the company and the Prodigy. That's what I want to hear about.
Is that Springfield or is that?
Yep, Springfield Armory.
Okay, yeah, Springfield. I will simply say that I am in. There's a training group of very close family friends and people that are my father has known a very long time. These guys are boomers who are they have very limited gun knowledge and they like to go out and shoot, steal with their 7.5 ARs from 20 yards away. That's these guys, all right? That's what they do. They're just a fun group of old dudes.
What's the average age, did you say?
Old. I don't know.
55,
like probably
65? What are we talking?
Half the dudes are retired. Yeah, half the dudes are retired.
We'll say 60. 60.
Yeah. Well, we'll say around retirement age. We'll say most everybody in this group is retirement age. and they are not really in the know, not really in the industry. Anytime the Prodigy gets brought up, it is immediately clowned on. The fact that these boomers and FUDs are aware that the Prodigy sucks is just lets me know that it's insanely bad. What have you guys got? That's just anytime I hear about it, they talk about it, and they're like, "Oh, lol, Prodigy, like L, massive L for Springfield." It's like, really? From you guys? That's crazy.
Yeah, you know what I've had almost the exact same Bones. I was still working as an apprentice gunsmith at the time, and like the super old dudes that would come in, and the guys who worked there, super gray. And keep in mind, they had an XD, the grip zone, and they loved
They
Springfield.
need to find
But
the
I
lip
think
zone.
the grip zone Grantham tutorial coming soon.
Garantham's got the lip
They
zone. He's been using it a lot to shield for Henry
Damn.
arms repeating, primary arms, trash. What else? AAC ammo. Oh my God, blown up primers allegedly. I'm gonna transition from coffee to something else, so I'll be right back. Keep talking. I can hear you.
All right.
transitioning.
Just
No,
like most of
wasn't there like some
America's youth.
I don't think most, but Tactical Girlfriend maybe. No, and wasn't there like some Chinese night vision company that Grantham was shilling, or like some computer company? I feel like I've seen Raid Shadow Legends on there, which everyone knows is a meme, but it's a whole thing. But no, and then the MSRP of the Springfield, I believe, was like 1,400, 1,500 or something. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bones,
Yeah.
when that first came out, and they were just like, "Man, I don't really see this being worth it." So yeah, the fact that
Yeah,
the FUDs
15
were
to
like,
it's 14.99 if for that airsoft thing you're talking about in Minecraft is roughly 14.99 to 17 to 1800 based on what model and things you get. So you're wasting potentially for most, half a paycheck or a whole paycheck, whatever, for the average income would be for like minimum wage and above, you're wasting a lot of money on a go ahead. That's how much money you're spending. Go ahead.
yeah, no, that's a car pay. That's a really big car payment, but that's a mortgage. That's a paycheck for a lot of people.
Hmm.
So yeah, for something that it was unproven, and as far as I know, had a few issues on release. Again, we keep seeing this issue where the gun community are expected to be these beta testers. And it
Hmm.
just pisses people off. And that's why we need an independent gun tube, right? So that we kind of steer people the right way. And that's why certain staples like get a good AR-15 and the Glock 19 are so easy for people to make. That's why they do so.
Yeah, it's dangerous for the gun community to be expected to test things just
Yes.
because you're dealing with explosions and personal protection, and it's definitely, I mean, not what companies should be doing. You could get, nobody likes to buy a product and then immediately it has to be fixed. I mean, same with video games. That's a big one. A lot of games come out, they suck on immediate release, and everybody's pissed because they're like, did you
EA
even,
Sports. It's in the game.
quality control this? Yeah, EA Sports, go fuck yourself.
Imagine
So
buying
yeah,
a staccato, and you get the staccato. It's roughly, we'll just say 25, for that Minecraft device, and you get it in. You're super excited, and it doesn't work. Do blims happen?
you have to pay a subscription service for it to work.
Brother, I mean, do blims happen for any company? Yes. The problem with the Prodigy, from what I've seen with my own two eyes, is you get them not functioning at all out of the box.
It
All of
was
them.
bad tooling, correct? There was something wrong with the
Okay, the
tooling they
firing
used.
pins break. Within 200 rounds, the firing pins break. Poor fitment of parts on the gun. What else? What else? What else? They tried to make it the whole, oh, look how buttery smooth it is, but the guns aren't fit properly. There's gaps in the rear. You can look at on the frame. The firing pins break. They rust. They're bad. The magazines are trash compared to regular staccato magazines. The gun is a bad gun.
Dude, half the posts on any like either Glock or SIG or any subreddit is this gun safe to buy now?
Yeah,
Like all the
yeah.
issues been ironed out. And that's ridiculous. That doesn't really happen in any other industry other than video games. Does share a lot.
Mhm. Yep.
There's probably some of the same reasons for that happening too.
Dude, they
Yep.
they released a broken product to an audience of people that don't pay it. And this is gonna sound bad, so just listen to what I'm gonna say before everyone freaks out in the chat. They released a broken product to a group of people that don't pay attention, that are just as good. Literally, they're releasing it for the just as good crowd. I'll turn my camera back on. They're releasing it
And
for people that are
there.
gonna
Oh, you have more.
say,
Good.
"Oh, it's 1,500, it's 1,400 bucks, it's just as good as a Staccato." It's not. It's not even close.
Yeah, and it's when you and like it sucks that the industry standard now, and I mean this is just generally smart practice because it's how it is, but it's especially true in the gun community, is never buy something right when it comes out, because there's always, and that's a good rule of thumb for anything really, but it's really bad in the gun community. And why, early on before I got on YouTube, I had a PSA dagger and it was doing okay. I had about 5,000 rounds on it. Trench did his burn down. People were saying generally good things. And then, the spring fell out of the dagger, and I was like, oh, maybe it's time to upgrade. Maybe I can trust myself with more than the cheapest possible Glock clone ever to protect myself with. So at that time, the RXM came out and it's like, this looks really promising. But all the videos that came out were all from the embargo. So all these guys, they shot maybe at absolute most like 500 rounds through the gun, and they're just reading off the usual, slop. Hey, this is our advertisement stuff.
It
And it's
carries
every
15
company does
plus
this.
1 rounds with a subcompact or compact grip. It is a
Yeah,
Gen 3 or a G3. A lot of times they don't even say Gen 3 because they don't want to get sued. But yeah,
yeah, yeah. It's the fact that none came out. I urged Trench, and I was like, dude, let's see if this RXM really is a good firearm, because there was no one I could really trust. Nobody was making independent gun tubers who weren't just going to shill it and not talk about it. It's kind of sad that that's where we're at with advertising, and then that's where a lot of the time the advertising, I've seen a really good friend of mine, won't name him, he's a great dude, but he has a Premier body armor plate carrier. He has a Springfield Saint rifle. He has a sling by who is it? He has a sling by Warrior Poet Society. And I want to say there's one other thing he bought too that was very advertised on YouTube. And I tried to tell him, like, man, these products, they're generally not good. You gotta like do some more research. And he's starting to realize, oh man, this stuff kind of sucks. And he's starting to grow out of that. But I think a lot of people don't realize, very respectfully, how susceptible you are to well masked advertisement.
Correct. I'll add a couple things, and I'm gonna light something on fire here for you guys. I don't know if people are ready for it.
go
But
ahead.
one,
I love
the
hot
Drop
takes.
it.
I'll do the normal thing for one. The fact that we can't trust newly released products, from automobiles to necessarily computers to games to firearms, shows that we are a nation in decline. There's a lot of reasons for that, but we used to build great is good, and something gets messed up down the line. And they say, whoa, I thought Holostone was just as good. And maybe it's not. And a lot of guys fell for that because of a lot of shilling that happened. I'm just going to throw that one out there for you guys.
I've heard generally good things about how shooting. This wasn't super intense shooting. I wasn't banging it off stuff. And maybe I'm the exemption, right? But it just went dead. Changed the battery, tried everything, couldn't get it back on. Yeah, I mean that sucks. And I understand people do want affordable things that work, and they are out there, but you have to be very cautious.
But the thing is, too, the difference between, let's say, a few $100s for like an RMR versus like a little Hollow Sun pistol dot, that small difference you are going to forget about in a couple years' time. If you're making range strips, that's the cost of ammo. I've seen a Hollow Sun lose 0 being Most people don't shoot a lot.
Oh
If you just
boy.
want something that you look through and
Oh
it's a
boy.
red dot,
We
then
lost him.
fine. There he is. He's back.
He's back.
We lost
He
him.
fended off the SIG guys.
I'm back. We lost him completely for a second. Let me go full screen here. And we're back. Okay. Hello.
Let's go.
Chat.
We see your home screen.
Hello.
I'm on stream.
That was weird. So you guys were talking, it disconnected me, and then I was looking at what I think we're back. Chat, do you got us? Hello?
I think
We
we're
got-
good.
we're
It
back.
never went down for me, so I think we're good.
What just happened?
Focus trip is back.
Yeah, you're
Focus
I
good.
trip
called
is
out
back.
Hollow Sun.
Okay. We called out T-Rex, we got nuked. We called out Hollow Sun, we got nuked, and we're back. Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
They can't keep us down.
Something is wrong. Something wrong. No,
Something wrong.
it's fine.
Holy cow, dude.
But the other thing too is you should be able to scrape together $100 or $150 to not support the Chinese. And I know the contrarians out there are going to say, "But your phone, but your TV." That's fine. That's not a tool to defend my life. And I don't have a great US made option for a phone necessarily, for a television, but I do in this area. And when it's something that you use to defend life and liberty for, I just think it's worth saving up that little bit more
Bro,
just to have that peace of mind.
the Hollow Sun 507 comp is a better product than an RMR.
Cap, dude. I don't know. I think that's cap.
I think the Hollow Sun 507 comp is a better optic than a standard RMR. We'll leave it up to chat. Chat, let us know
In what way?
the battery. You can change the
In what
batteries,
way?
the window, the durability. I have had better success with 507 comps than RMRs. I've tested them on pistols and on an ACOG, and I've tested them on obviously just on pistols with the 507 comp. But I like if let's put it this way. I'm getting another staccato for the channel, right? I am deciding if it's going to be
Flex on us. Go ahead.
right.
Sorry.
It's either going to be the P or the XC or the P to do a 5,000 round burn down on the gun, because I've done 10,000 rounds, but that's with competition, attending courses, and filming content for the channel with the C2 that's right here with a Surefire, and guess what's on top of it? From my choosing of all the optics in the world, 507 comp is what I like.
Okay, well, let me just say this. I do not care if you can change
Focus
the
Trip
battery
agrees with me, by the way.
without
And so does
taking
chat.
off an op. That's fine. I would rather
Teacup
support my
grip,
own
bitch.
country. It's just the Chinese.
I mean,
And
there's
that's
a
fine.
point to be made that it is, if you can, it is good to support American companies. I'll agree with that point, and I'll say that I have only owned one pistol dot ever, and that was a Hollow Sun pistol dot, and it did die on me. I had one time it flew off my gun while I was shooting, and I had blue Loctite on it. And then the second time I had orange Loctite on it, and it just stopped working. Again, that's a sample size of 2 technically, because I bought the first one, it died, I sent it in, they sent me a new
What
one,
dot?
and then I sold it because I didn't. What dot did I have?
What
I
dot?
had. Let me look.
Because I have
It
a
was-
407C that has gone through 12,000 rounds or more on a Shadow Systems MR920. No issues.
Let me see. It was a pistol dot. Now, granted, you could say we're going to introduce another point of contention. It had the ACSS reticle in it, so it had the big, stupid, huge circle that
So you
everybody
bought
thought
a
was a
dumb
really good
optic.
idea.
That thing is a
And
bad
then it had
optic by
The
itself.
chevron. So what makes it a bad optic?
Okay, so
It
I'm
is
saying the reticle
507C.
selection that you chose is a dumb reticle selection.
I think the big circle is a crutch. I didn't use it. I like the chevron though. I like the V. The chevron, the 10 MOA chevron is what I bought it for. And I did actually learn that I didn't like it because of my astigmatism. It was really big. It bloomed out really big, and I ended up personally just going back to iron sights because I don't like points of failure on my guns, and I have astigmatism.
Well,
But
I'll
that's the
tell
one I
you,
had, and it did fail on me.
with properly mounted irons, with properly mounted irons and a properly mounted red dot, regardless, right? Let's say a Hollow Sun and above. If you mount a red dot properly and the irons properly, the irons will come off the gun before the red dot will, and I'll tell you why. In my experience, I had my front sight post almost come off completely on a Glock 19 on my carry gun. It's a Trijicon front sight, orange front sight post. The sights get hotter because they're directly inside the slide, even with Loctite. In my experience, I've had sights come off of Glocks. I've had sights come off of daggers. I've had sights come off of the front sight burned out of my staccato. You know, the little insert. Drawing a blank. The I don't know. I'm forgetting I'm drawing a blank on the type, but the little like insert vial of stuff came out. So in my experience,
I know what you're talking
not
about. Your
tritium or something. Yeah.
Or fiber optic.
Yeah, the fiber
thing.
optic. So
Okay.
I've had more irons fail in my life than I've had properly mounted dots fail.
Interesting.
I'll let
I'm just
Poacherman give his 2 cents too, but that's just my
Go ahead, yeah.
experience. A lot of time for dot failures, what I have found from shooting with people is they don't mount the dot properly. They don't mount it properly. They either monkey it down and they strip the screws. They don't know they stripped it because they're fucking stupid. They go to the range and 100 rounds in, the fucking dot flies off. Or they don't mount the mount itself properly, or they're using a bad mounting plate like a MOS plate on a Glock. So the vast majority of the experiences I have, either the dude didn't mount the dot properly, didn't mount the mount properly, didn't Loctite it with the correct Loctite, and the irons will fall off the gun to the point where you'll go to a course, any pistol course where you're shooting 1,200 rounds for 3 days, you're going to see more rear sights drift and front sights ejectocito than you will dots fail if they're mounted properly.
Well, I'll just say this, and I'm ready for the slings and arrows, but I'll take them. We moved the conversation on SIG, and I do think this is where we need to go next on as a gun community. I would rather have to take off and change the battery from below. I don't care if there's a battery that changes easier.
Just like
I would rather support my country.
A very based statement. I think that there is a point to be made about supporting U.S. companies for sure.
But here's the thing too, and this is Lucas at T-Rex Arms. Correct me if I'm wrong. All the time Lucas was there, they refused to sell hollow sun dots. Jack can fact check me on that one. And now that Lucas is gone, it'll be interesting to see what happens if they get added to. Here's the thing, guys.
Lucas also said he doesn't like to train civilians. He said he doesn't prefer to train. Lucas has been wrong about a lot of stuff. Just because he's right now, and he's the hero right now, his opinion isn't necessarily correct. A lot of competitive shooters and a lot of people are using 507 comps because it is the best on the market right now. So just because Lucas likes the SRO, with the SRO is a bad dot.
I love the SRO. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I don't like it.
French, here's the thing. I think you are wrong. And if you tell me Lucas is wrong, that's fine. It doesn't really affect me. I think if you are supporting this Chinese company over a good American option, I think you should maybe think about either not getting a dot or just save up, scrape together the couple Benjamins it's going to take to get
a
an
worse
actual...
dot. It's a worse dot.
Worse in what way, though, dude?
The RMR Gen 2... it is not a good dot either, right? And then the upgrade for that is window size and being able to change the battery. But look at this. Sig Sauer is an American company, yet they outsource everything. The Sig Romeo 5 is made in freaking China, allegedly by HoloSun. So just because it's an American company doesn't make it a good company, okay? And I think this idea...
But Trijicon is infinitely more based than HoloSun.
And Trijicon has made a lot... So And I'll give you this. I bought an ACOG from Trijicon and it failed right away out the box. The prism wasn't even made properly. And I'll even give you one more point.
Didn't happen to anybody.
I'll give you one more point. EOTech, for the 512s and the EXPS2s, when they first released it to the Army, they were all broken. That's an American company that failed dudes in Iraq during the invasion of Iraq. So just because it's an American company, that is like saying we're all in the gun community. Yes, should you buy... If you can buy a Toyota or a Ford, should you buy a Ford if you can? 100%. I've always driven I try to buy Ford. I drive the Bronco now. I agree on buying domestically, supporting American companies. But I don't give a fuck about an American company when someone kicks down the door of the gym and starts shooting people and I got my 507 comp or an RMR. Give me the one with better battery life with a bigger window. I don't give a fuck about supporting America when my life is on the line. That's why Made in Austria is on everyone's carry gun in this chat. Because guess what? There's no American Glock. There is one. It's a Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0. And objectively speaking, the gun, the magazines, and the production quality from the Made in Austria company is better. That's why motherfuckers carry Glocks and not a fucking Smith & Wesson. So this whole like made in America, it's got to be made in America or we're all going to go down. Brother, we're going to go down anyway. We're fucked. We're trying to fight a war for Israel. We're fucked in so many other ways. We have a fucking border crisis. We are fucked anyway. So to say we got to support American company because they're American, when your life is on the line, I want a made in Austria on the side of the gun and a Holosun 507 comp. And yeah, Federal HST is going to be in the gun, but it's not because it's got the name fucking Federal on it. If that shit was made in fucking China, but it still said Federal HST and it was the best bullet, that's what I'd choose. So I think guys got to get over this fact of like, okay, support when you can, right? Support when you can. But your life is literally on the line. I don't give a fuck about an SRO because it's made by Trigicon. Fuck that optic. That's my 2 cents anyway.
Yeah, and I guess I would be perfectly fine if somebody breaks down the door. I would be perfectly comfortable reaching for an RMR. It sounds like maybe you wouldn't for various reasons. I really don't care if the window is slightly bigger.
It would be the second
and
choice.
All I'm saying is should. All I'm saying is should. You know, your dollars and the vote you make with your dollar does make a huge difference. And people don't necessarily know that. I'm not saying Trigicon's perfect. I'm not saying EOTech's perfect. There was the thermal drift issue that was very well known, that where, you know, you went from cold to hot, the drift. I'm sure you know about that, Trench.
Yeah, so when I was in Alaska,
the drift could be big.
Yep, we went to Benning and every time.
So I'm not saying that every American company is perfect. You know, T-Rex Arms is an American company. Look at what they're doing. But we have so much time with the RMR. I think it's a little disingenuous to just discount that entirely because you want a window that's slightly bigger or you don't want to have to re-zero when you take it off. The battery life is so good anyway. I don't think that, to me, their features might be cooler, but to me that doesn't override the better feeling I have when I actually support this US-based company. So I know that's hot topic. Apparently.
So I like the RMR because I like to do the ACOG stack and I like it. Right. I like it, but what I'm gonna say and my point is, the economy is gonna matter about 0% when you're 6 feet under because some gangbanger put you in the grave because your red dot died and you could, or whatever, right? So
lost him a little bit there.
Oh, you guys got me? Test.
You're back.
Okay, what I'm saying is, buy the best product. Is Trigicon an amazing company? The RMR is good, but I feel the 507 comp is better. And when my life is on the line, like if Nighthawk, right, she doesn't use a dot, but she uses a Glock 19 with Trigicon night sights. Funny, you know, it's just how it works. Trigicon is based. Very based, right? But and I go back and forth between a 507 comp or iron sights on my Glock 19 or a 507 comp on my Staccato C2. The point I'm trying to make is, I don't care who makes it as long as it's the best.
Well, you should care, I think, a little bit, and to the extent that it's the best, I don't place as much value on those features, Trench, and you know, maybe my battery will run out and I'll get clapped, and you know what, you can have the loot, right, and then you'll be correct. But
well, the brightness,
to me, the solar, changing the battery, the brightness, what is it's a red dot. I mean, it works perfectly fine for me.
Okay, but that's the thing for you, but you're not. So I'm not trying to do the whole pedigree thing, but I think I shoot a lot more than you, and I think I have shot a lot more bullets in my life than you, and I think it would matter.
I think you probably do.
But with the only thing I'm going to say with that is because of that, the adjustment settings for the RMR are farther apart in brightness levels than that of a 507 comp. So in certain daylight conditions, a 507 comp is better than an RMR because there's more middle grounds and more adjustment settings than that of a RMR. So I can tell you right now, if you look at RMR, when I'm shooting with my ACOG and I need to use that dot, there's more often than not when I need to, oh, that's way too bright and that's way too dim. With the 507 comp, there's more settings that are more applicable and better battery life, better window. That's why I like it, right?
I will take worse adjustment settings to support my country. I guess that's just where I'm at, dude.
I mean,
I think there's something to be said that it is it is sad and disappointing when, and especially an American company is supplanted by a foreign company in
Agreed.
making a product.
Look at
like, and
Aimpoint.
we see this a lot with, yeah, we'll say Aimpoint, we'll say Trigicon, where they used to make some really good stuff,
They still
but
do.
they're playing it safe, and they still do. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with anything they make, and I have another segue here that I think will be really good for us and get us on some agreement here. But I think that how can we encourage these American companies to actually improve? Because what I'm seeing is a lot of these American companies, they get supplanted, they're established, and then they don't innovate, and they fail to innovate, and then they fall behind. And you're seeing that right now, I think, a little bit with Glock and the RXM. Now it's an Australian company, it's an American company, American W, yes, but if you look at the features of the RXM, it blows Glock out of the water. Glock is obviously established, and I think it's a similar situation where the Trigicon, the RMR, let's say, it's established. It's been great for what it is, but it's failed to adapt and failed to change in meaningful enough ways. And now we have foreign entities undercutting, making something that has better features that people are more likely to buy.
So I want to ask
What are your thoughts
Chad.
on that?
Things. I would say there's the RMR HD, there's the RCR, and I would say that you're correct, Bones, and that's not necessarily great that the Chinese can steal our tech, innovate on it, and you could argue they have certain advantages in doing that. A lot of that goes back to NAFTA and other issues outside of our control, right? But yeah, I do think they listen. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the Army just signed a huge contract to have Trigicon refurbish a bunch of their ACOGs. Could be wrong on that, guys, but pretty sure that's what happened. But yeah, I agree. I would like to see America have the very best dots, and
But they
I
don't.
think we should achieve that. I think
So
we can do it.
Think about this. And chat, I want everyone to vote either if you're watching this tomorrow, vote down below in the comments. Option 1, I want the best product regardless of country of origin. I want the best product for performance. Or option 2, I want American made even if objectively speaking there's a better option from a foreign entity. Which do you want? Option 1, the best regardless, or option 2, the American made? What I would say is this. On my guns, for real use, for handguns, it's Holosun 507K or comp, right? For rifles, it's an Aimpoint or Trigicon or EOTech product. So, but the reason why my rifles have American-made optics is not your line of thinking where I need to support my country. It's because when I bought them, they were the best option when I bought them. Comma, if I would say another year or two goes down and Aimpoint doesn't innovate more, they are going to be surpassed tenfold by Holosun. They are going to be surpassed by these other countries that are making the product and advancing technology. Aimpoint hasn't made a new thing that's worth a damn since the Comp M4. They tried to make the T2. A lot of guys got the T2 because it's smaller, but they haven't innovated in over a decade. Holosun, regardless of what you think about Holosun or other countries like that, they are fucking working their ass off to beat out Aimpoint, Trigicon, and EOTech. And I can pretty much see the writing on the wall. If you see you know what you don't see? You don't see a Ben Steger video with an EOTech. Why? Because the options for a equivalent or better dot made by Holosun exist. Period. And I think in the coming years, you're going to see, it's unfortunate for this country. It's not 2003 anymore. We can still display military prowess and power wherever we want within 24 hours. Period. The 173rd, the 82nd Airborne, you name it, they will be there to kill you. But I think in the future, you're going to start to see things where hey, we're going to get this Glock contract because SIG sucks. So
Don't listen to
Well,
him,
here's the
chat.
thing.
He has all those optics because he stole them from the army.
yeah, that
Just
would
had to get that in
be
there.
hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, and I'm going to federal prison.
Yeah, yeah. I'm joking. Go ahead, Brenton. I just want to get that in.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, yeah, and I'm not arguing about the brightness steps trench or those other features. I see that they have those features. At some point, I think we have to realize this is a glass lens projecting a red dot for you to see, right? And at some point, loyalty does matter. And I'm not saying you're disloyal. I think you've made the wrong choice on Holosun, especially being part of the army. I would hope you would rep Trijicon a little bit. But I'm not fighting that they have
On
certain
the
features
ACOG.
that ours don't. Right.
Very based.
And I think the ACOG rocks. I just don't think we should necessarily be as comfortable giving money to a company that supports the PLA. It's Woyang. You guys can look up the Vermilion China article on it. They are very closely connected, and you are essentially running R&D for the PLA, and that's fine. You know what? A lot of tech does come from China. But for me, the difference in price, what do we say? Like a couple $100, $150. If you buy used, it can be pretty close. But we'll say new. Let's say it's $200. I would rather pay $200 more one time, knowing how much you're going to buy in ammo, how much you're going to spend on the actual gun, to support a job here and not someone who is directly our adversary on the world stage.
But what you're
It's like
forgetting,
if Russia came out with an option tomorrow, would you guys buy a Russian red dot because it was the best ever?
yes,
Some of you might.
if it was
But
better, if it was better, objective, I
how
think
much better really matters? Does it really
1%
matter if it
matters.
has solar or if you can change the battery?
how many
1%
years?
matters?
How many years of your life
No.
really matter? How many years of your life? Because you're saying that's like
I
saying
will
I'll
love
live
them.
for 65 years, but I'm okay with living for 64 because the product was made in America. Listen, dude, we have bigger
Now,
problems.
here's the thing,
The
Trench.
former.
You take it off to change the battery. You just take it off, dude. It's not the end of
That's
the world.
not what I'm
You
saying.
take it off.
The window
you put a
size,
new
the
battery
brightness
in, you
size,
put it
the
back in.
durability. The durability. I've seen more RMR glass fall out than I have 507 comps. The durability of the optic. Okay, so the durability.
Cap.
Look at the
Dude, I'm
acro.
just calling cap.
Look at the acro. Is the acro's an
Acro
American-made
sucks. I will
company,
not defend the Acro.
but you're defending the
I will
RMR.
not defend the Acro.
But you're defending the RMR, which is an
Absolutely, it's a
outdated
different
product. It's an outdated product. And you're so
I don't think
worried
it's outdated
about.
if it projects a dot.
So listen, you're so worried about economic decisions when General Milley literally supported the PLA. General Milley, the literal head general of the United States, was supporting them. We have so many bigger issues than your $300. I'm telling you right now, just looking at the votes from the chat, they agree with me based on having the better product is more important than buying American. So your little $300 has already been outweighed by the community that wants the better product, regardless of if it's a stupid ass made in China or made in the US. Normally I would agree with you if my life wasn't on the line, but when my life is on the line, I'm buying the thing that makes a better product, right? That's just my 2 cents. Go ahead.
And I would not be uncomfortable at all with putting my life on the line for an RMR. I wouldn't be uncomfortable with that at all. And let me go back to, you were talking about General Milley. Are you making the argument that we should support China, or what are you saying?
No, I'm saying your $300 and the decision to buy from an American-made product has been overhyped. Amazon has already won. China has already won. So at the
but that's a defeatist attitude, dude. That's a defeatist attitude.
The grassroots level.
We should just give up and bend over for China,
but you asked
because
me a question.
Amazon is a thing.
You asked me a question, so I'm answering your question.
Yeah, and I don't like your answer.
Well, I haven't answered
Go
it yet.
ahead and answer.
General Milley is living proof that China has already infiltrated our country in more ways than one. He's infiltrated the country at the Amazon production, and to have a key general, the top general of the United States, give China heads up hey, we are making these moves and to give them heads up. That is just one example how China has circumvented the United States. They are leaps and bounds ahead of us. And the way that this has happened, to get a little bit political, is they don't elect somebody new every 4 years. They're thinking 15, 20 years down the road. We are only thinking one election cycle at a time, moving the goalpost every time. So China is way, way ahead of us, unfortunately. So the grassroots level of people saying America first, buy America now. I'm telling you what's actually happening is people go to Amazon, and if there's a $500 suit or a $199 suit that is just as good, the vast majority of people are buying the $199. Now, as far as gun products are concerned, or as far as things that your life is on the line are concerned, I'm telling you, the vast majority of dudes aren't, they're going to preach what you're preaching, which is America first, buy America now. They're going to say that, but they're not going to do it. I'm telling you that.
So if what you said is true, that we have been infiltrated by China, then it is even more important for us to support a company like Trigicon. I'm sure you realize that. And to get to your point, yeah, I understand most people are hurting. I understand most people, yeah, you want to dot, just, you look at what's cheap and you throw it on, sure.
Not what's cheap,
Only
what's
a few.
best. Because they only want to spend their money once. If Trigicon has the second best
I think
stock,
it's a financial decision, though. I think Trigicon is the best. I think it's a financial decision for most guys. And most guys are going to want to buy what's cheaper. I understand. Very few people are going to have the ability to stand up and lead and say, I think we should hold ourselves to a higher ideal. I think we should be a free people.
You've already lost that, dude. You got
what
people.
The British are doing is good.
You've already lost that. I mean, you can look at the average American family is trash. You know what I mean? We've already lost the narrative. The divorce rate, right, is.
I don't support that view. China is more effective than us. We want to get on this stream and say China is more effective than us because of how they do things over there, and the average American family is trash. I would just say that's a fundamental disagreement.
Dude, the average American family, there's no father figures, okay? Parents aren't raising their children. They're passing them off to the school to raise the children. They're passing them off to third parties, right? Coaches. They're passing them off to the teachers. They're not actually raising their own children anymore. The father figure in the United States is ruined. The average American family, the American family of 10 years ago, doesn't exist anymore. And it's unfortunate. I'm not saying China's better, but what I'm saying is this belief that we got to support people here, that would normally, like, I am on the same page as you as long as A, there's not a better product when my life is on the line, or B, I'm not getting blatantly ripped off by a company like Aimpoint when in 2 years, 3 years from now, there's going to be companies like Holosun that have made the same product for cheaper.
No, dude, the pricing is high. I mean, it's really high on like a T2. I'm not going to argue with you there. And I'm just saying we should try and think about this a little bit. I think if we go with the attitude of, oh, it's just over, man, Amazon won, so you might as well buy Holosun, I think that's kind of a defeatist attitude, and I think we can do a little bit better as a gun community. And I think we have gotten too comfortable with Holosun as a brand.
I mean,
I agree with a lot of that. I will also agree that we should encourage companies to not overinflate their prices because of their military pedigree as well. And
absolutely, the MSRPs on Trigicon are ridiculous. Mm-hmm. It's like, I was talking to a boomer. He's like, dude, I can't afford $2,000 for an ACOG. I said, what do you mean? They're like $1,000. He was just going based on the MSRP. So in that sense, I agree. And is there a little bit of greed there maybe? And are people relying on the pedigree a little bit too much? Yeah, I think they probably are. But if you're talking about me, if I see parachutes tomorrow, I'm going to feel better grabbing a Trigicon RMR instead of a Primary Arms Holosun. That's just the way I am. And I might be different than you, Trench, or other people. And I understand people are hurting, and I have Holosuns too. And they project a red dot mostly. I'm just saying what we should strive for is a little bit tougher, and it's probably tougher for a reason.
have a question, if I can slightly change the subject a little. But if, Trent, if you want to respond, I won't stop you from it. I want to specify my point. People that are saying that
are going to pick the best option. I promise you. Okay, a lot less people are going to choose the American made just because it's American made. That is my point. I will pick the best whenever my life is on the line. I will pick the best product for that, regardless of country of origin. Now, outside of that, if it's out of convenience, which is Protraband's point, out of convenience, I will always buy American made. Yes, out of convenience. American made jeans, American made t-shirts, American made, I will buy American made. But when it's out of support and convenience. Now, when it's out of my life is on the line, fuck all that. The best bullet is the best bullet, the best dot, and the best gun is what I'm getting. And to say, oh, well, I'm only going to buy American made then, no. If white or X company over here makes better product, that's what I'm getting because that's what my life depends on, right? That is my point.
I agree, and I agree with everything you said, Trench. The difference that I place in that, it's of those slightly different features, to me is not enough to overrule that. For you, it is. That's the way it is.
But I think we disagree because the vast majority of operators, competition shooters, that people performing at a high level that can choose, go look at what they're choosing. The tier list goes 507 comp, then SRO, then RMR, not the opposite. That is what guys that actually shoot, what guys that actually do this are choosing because it's a better product. So to say that
you're pulling out the pedigree argument on me, man. Come on, dude.
But it's true. It's objectively a better dot, bigger window, better dot settings, more features.
I'm not going to argue with. They messed up with the RMRCC. It should have been the RMSC pattern. They just now released the RMR HD and the enclosed dots, whatever it is. I want to see what they do next. I think that's cool. So I'm okay holding out until.
Can we agree that the 507 comp on paper and in actual use is a better dot for the price and the performance?
I can't right now, Trench. I need to take a deep look at everything it offers. If you're asking me just right now, gun to my head, does it have a bigger window? Yeah, I'll concede that. 100% it has a bigger window. Is it easier to change the battery? 100%.
And I can say, hey,
I will concede that.
I can say, hey, I've seen Night Force LPVO break and they're trash, but that's just because what I've seen with my eyes. And you could say, I've never seen it. I'm not saying that statement. I'm just saying that's an example because I've seen the glass fall out. You haven't. That's fine, right? But I think the point I'm just trying to make for that is based on what I've seen and based on what I know, that is why I choose the 507 comp over the RMR, right? Not necessarily for the America versus China thing. Obviously, fuck China. Obviously it's unfortunate the situation we're in. But the point I'm trying to make is, from my experience, pedigree thing, I guess, is that 507 comp is a better dot. And that's why I choose it.
And I don't necessarily disagree with anything there, Trench. I just, I'm going to call out guys like you that have Hollow Sun because my opinion is you should think about repping the RMR. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the slings and arrows for that into their just as good stuff and the brands that they rep. It's an emotional.
I have a
bone.
I had a question that was kind of stemmed on this discussion, and it was that Trench said that 1% matters, and I have an interesting question to propose, and it is when you have something that works, say you have a weapon system or an optic or anything like that, and something better comes out, at what point does it become worth it to take a chance on something else, buy something that's in theory better, adjust your training for that incremental increase? How much does that have to...
For 1%?
How much of an increase in performance do you have to... So I'll ask you then this. So if you have... I'm trying to think of a good example. So if you have let's just say EOTech.
EOTech 2
you have
to
an
3.
EOTech or a dot?
2 to 3.
Well, so I would say that's more than a 1% increase, though.
It's significant. The mounting, but it's a good example. The night vision and the mounting are way better with the 3. So I guess my answer to that, and I'll agree with Protraband kind of on this point in this context. If I have 15 students, and I tell them, hey, this happened recently with Ben Steger. He told a bunch of people to get Glock 17s. They all went and got Glock 17s, and then the 47 came out, and guess what he told them? If you can afford it, get the 47 right now. If you can't, train with your 17. It's the best gun of yesterday, but if your likelihood of getting in a gunfight is significantly higher, i.e. you're law enforcement or military, you need to update today. You update the contract today, right? So that would be my answer. But if you're not and you're a civilian and you can't really afford to make that change right now, I would rather see you dry fire and spend more time on ammo and training than see you chasing the rabbit every 5 seconds of like, the RMR was good today, but now the fight was. I would rather just see you be excellent with the American-made RMR rather than chase it. But if it's like, hey, it's time, if 3 years have gone by, 4 years have gone by, and you're like, I'm going from a 19X to a Glock 47 because it's a significant increase in performance, and you're going to need to put a new dot, then I say make the jump for the gun, make the jump for the dot, make the jump for the ammo in incremental things, not a day by day, maybe a 2 or 3 year by 2 or 3 year.
And I think that's the question, Trench, is where we agree is what is the percent number when that has to happen. You've said 1. I don't know if it's 1 for me.
For a day
for
to
me,
day,
it's probably a lot bigger, but
it would have to be if you and I, let's say you and I were battle buddies and we're rocking the RMR, okay? And it's 17 or 18, probably 19. We'll say it's 2020. 2020, COVID's happening, we're battle buddies, we're deploying tomorrow, and they come out with a 507 comp. Well, we don't need to get it just because it's on paper, it looks better. We know a ton of stuff that on paper it looks good, right? The P365 XL looks good on paper, it's a bad gun. Okay, so just because it's a good on paper, so I say we wait. But once it's been proven, and there's so many, thank you. There's so much, I guess, pedigree and testing or whatever behind it, and it makes sense for us to change. We shouldn't go out and buy another Glock 34 with an RMR in the MOS. We should buy a Glock 47 with a 507 comp that's got a cut in the slide that direct mounts. That would be like my line of thinking. Whenever it makes sense to upgrade.
Yeah, and I hear you in a world where like the RMR doesn't exist. I don't think anyone's making a serious defense of like the RMR CC. I think we can agree they kind of screwed the pooch on that one with its unique mounting pattern, still bottom changing dot. But for me, I don't know, in your scenario, so like battle buddy scenario, where you're trapped with me, this sounds like a 90s movie, but it's you and me against the invading force.
Teacup grips and revolvers and Berettas.
and Bones is there too. If me and Bones show up with an RMR, are you gonna be like, dude, you're undergunned?
No, like, I think that it's the same conversation as always. If you show up with an RMR and you have a Glock 17 and an RMR, is that a really good gun with a really good dot? Yes. If I show up with a 47 and a 507 comp that's direct mount, I think we'll joke with each other like, yeah, mine's a little bit better here and there, but I think what matters more is performance on target and the ability. If your gun, and this is where I would draw the line, if Bones' performance is not to standard, that's when we force him as an agency, a department, as an army. That's when we would force him to get rid of the RMR because the margin of error is able to be measured, right? If he fails to clear a room properly tomorrow because the dot brightness settings were let's say hypothetically, somehow we could say it was that thing. I promise you what an agency, the army, whatever is going to do, they're going to tell Bones you have 48 hours to go out and upgrade and turn that into the armory. That's what's going to happen, right? And if he doesn't do it, he's going to get fucking fired. I promise you.
If there is ever a situation like that, I will submit that to you, Trench. If somebody says, hey, you're going to fail this course with an RMR, but you're going to be able to win this with a Holosun because of the different setting, I will allow that to happen, okay? But I don't know if that test has ever happened or if it ever would. But in that hypothetical senorio, sure, it's on the line. But
I would say it's happening every day. I say it happens every day, all the time, both with camouflage patterns, optics, calibers. I think it's always happening. at every day, you could wake up tomorrow and they could say, hey, X company just made a Trigon ACOG that somehow has a 1 power option in the actual optic. It's an ACOG, it's lighter, and it has a 1 power option. You would say, holy shit, why would I ever use the 4 power only if I could just do the one, like an LCAN type? You know what I mean? But performance of the ACOG. I guarantee you, everyone in the gun community would say, okay, that's the red flag we needed to switch over.
Yeah, if they can defy physics in that way, then yeah, it's the obvious bet. But we're talking about dots. If there's a test where a high-level operator couldn't pass a test with the Holosun, but they could pass it with Trigicon offering, I guess that's what I'm curious about. And I agree, camo patterns and all that, there's been some better than others over the years, but I guess the margin of difference, is it that much better to where I need to throw my whole life behind having X% larger window? And I just don't know if I'm there. And so that's what it comes back to for me. But
what do you
yeah,
got?
I agree. Trigicon needs to make more products and start innovating. Absolutely.
And Aimpoint and EOTech. I would say it's going to be, we'll all be, if we're still creating content, I'm sure we'll be sitting here in 5 years or on one of our streams talking, and we'll just be like, dude, can you remember when we all used to just buy Aimpoint because of the name, and now it's whatever company? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Then you get clapped with somebody by like a Seymour dot from the 90s or something, though. Imagine going out that way.
Wow.
Oh, buddy.
Bones, what is your take on all this?
There's a lot of things that have been said. Could you narrow it down to something a little more specific?
What matters to you more, American made or performance? Now, and you have to pick one or the other, and why.
So if I have to pick between American made and performance, it's going to have to be significantly more performance for me to pick the non-American company. If it's a marginal increase and it's a marginal increase in money and in performance, I'll likely, if I can, pick the American company.
What if
it's astronomically, or if it's...
So for this case specifically, we have 3 objective reasons why the dot's better and a $225 difference. So 3 objective reasons and roughly a 200, we'll just say 200, right? It changes all the time. Some days they're on sale, some days they're not. We'll say 200, 150. We'll say $150 difference and 3 objective reasons. Which do you choose?
Sorry, what are those trends? Because I know we talked about
durability
the battery life and the
battery life, being able to change the dot, the durability in my experience, and the window size, and the 5. There's 5 reasons, and the adjustment settings on the 507 have more options, right? And you can get different color options if you want to be like petty about it. You can get green, you know what I mean? And a lot of guys have used green and say green doesn't get blasted out by the sun as much. So that's 5 objective. We'll say 4. We'll say the durability is not a factor. 4 reasons. You can't argue with objective truths, right?
I'm not attempting to. I think some of them. I think that there is how much you value the advantages. You could argue, of course, how much you value those. If I am now, for one, also I don't run red dots on my pistols anymore, so I have to think about this a little more than people who do. If somebody says to me, "Hey, you have to buy a red dot, okay?" And you either buy a cheaper product that isn't American made, that is objectively better. If there is a market increase in its performance, I would probably buy the foreign option. But there has to be a very clear market increase for me to make that jump, because I would prefer to support an American company if they're similar. But if it's a big enough gap, then I would say sure, I'll pick something else.
So Focus Trip agrees with me here. Focus Trip in chat says your personal performance is what matters at the end of the day. So boom, yes. That goes to the 507 comp. His next point is the 507 comp is 1 to 5% better than the next offering. I agree with him there too. It is objectively speaking, again, the best option on the market today as we speak right now. And they even, they even got green. And a lot of guys perform better with green. So
Hmm.
I agree. Your performance matters. If a dude has a Mosin Nagant and he's the best dude on the team, use the Mosin Nagant. And guess what? You're not going to give a fuck that that was made by the Soviet Union. You're going to say, that's a nice Mosin Nagant. Good job on that drill. So in this case, not only are you losing out in price, you're losing out in performance, you're losing out in options. It's just a no-brainer for me. And the Made in America means about 0% to me when I could potentially be dead based on the loss of some of those features in a black and white gunfight.
I'll agree that performance is important, but the Made in America feature isn't 0% to me. That's where I'm at. I think I'm in a middle. I think I'm in a middle ground where I see the value of straight performance is important. I also see both sides of the budget where you could save up for something that is in theory better, where you make the decision to stop saving and actually buy something and start training. I get that. To me, I would like to see more American companies innovate for less expensive things. And I would prefer to buy American when I can, when there isn't a massive price disparity between the American versus the other offering. That's where I'm at with it. That's how I feel. And also too, I won't put myself in a position in which I am buying something that I don't need, as an example. So like I don't run pistol red dots. I'm not going to be purchasing one, and if I don't need to do so, it's something that doesn't really apply to me. And I think that if you are good at something and you are safe and effective, you don't need to worry a ton about upgrading. And I think people should sit down and assess when changing how they train or spending the money becomes worth it in the increase in performance.
Well
That's
said,
where I'm at.
Bones.
That's where I'm at with it. So, and that's what I guess part of what I wanted to talk about briefly at the end was, when does the performance you get from a product become worth it to upgrade from something that you know works and is established for you, but maybe slightly worse, I guess, like when do you go from an ACOG that you're really used to shooting to, let's say in theory, the LCAN, if it was better than the ACOG in a very, how big would that increase need to be for you to spend the money?
When performance is obviously diminished based on the old product is the moment, right? If you're like
Mhm.
running
As
drills
obviously, yes, yeah,
and you
sure.
have a buddy, let's keep it very simple for like not to shit on the ACOG LCAN. Well, we can use that example. Let's say you have an LCAN and I have an ACOG,
Mhm.
and we're shooting drills. And one week we go to the range and I'm like, damn, Bones is kicking my ass and normally I beat him. Hey, can I try your LCAN?
Mhm.
What are your holds? And then I'm just like, holy shit, this thing is a lot better. Like, maybe not a lot. Maybe I would have
Let's
got,
say
maybe I
moderately
would have
better.
got 5 alphas, but instead I got 4 alphas, 1 Charlie. Consistent.
Mhm.
It's time. That is the writing on the wall. And the reason why, because chat's going to be like, what? It's just as good. Wrong. Because that 4 alphas, 1 Charlie is the difference between a life-ending stop and you either a life-ending stop for the bad guy, them getting an extra shot on you, or you potentially hitting a bystander. Because as stressors go up, rounds, your shot group increases, right, to a wider range. So you might be shooting 1 MOA on the flat range during doing drills, but now you're shooting 5 MOA in the mall when this bad guy's got an AK and he's raking people down. So if you are like, now to bring it to the RMR, if you're like, hey, yeah, the RMR is really good. It's a really good optic, but I'm getting 4 alphas, 1 Charlie. Now look at you. You're going to look real goofy when you're in prison forever because you shot somebody because the performance of the optic was slightly worse and it affected your actual performance. That is my point.
I think that's a very performance, like ultimate, or how would I say that? A performance absolutist mindset. And I definitely get that performance is one of the most important things. Um, I think though that you should look at things from not purely just performance, because there's other aspects too, like your budget, how often you train, and if everybody was worried about only purely performance, I I think it's a relatively unrealistic way to approach your firearms.
If everyone was worried
Um,
about only performance, then the Prodigy wouldn't be an issue. I disagree. Com-
yes.
companies like companies like Springfield releasing the Prodigy would never be an issue because everyone would look at it and say, "Oh, they cut corners. I would never buy that." See what I'm saying? Unless guys started testing it and were like, "Holy shit! Not only is the Prodigy made in Croatia, alleged like just joke like hypothetically, not only is it made in
Hmm.
Croatia, it's so much better for $1,000 less than a Staccato. Then yeah, go with that, right? But it just happens to be the Staccato is the corner of the market for the 2011 World, right? And the Atlas, if you want to go crazy. So go with that, right? But yeah, I think that to live in a world where you're like, oh, well, I can't eat tonight, because I bought my RMR 2.0 or RMR 3.0 because it was better
Nobody's
performance.
saying that, Trench. Come on, dude. Nobody's saying that.
But the guys are going to take this and be like, so what, Trench? Every time if Trijicon releases an RMR every month, you're going to buy a new one every month. I can see that argument where like, okay, it's better. Technology starts moving so fast that they're able to make a new one every couple months, right? In this story that I'm telling, this hypothetical scenario, then yeah, I can understand where that's not realistic for you to go out and buy an RMR 3.0 and RMR 4.0 every couple months and waste $500 every couple months on a new dot just because it's better. I can understand that point. That's not realistic for anybody. But the same way you wouldn't update your iPhone just because there's a new iPhone every year doesn't mean you're going to go out and buy a new iPhone. That's unrealistic. It's too expensive unless you're like you do it for realsies all the time, and your likelihood of getting a gunfight is a lot higher. Like if you're a law enforcement officer or a soldier, you need the best pretty much at all times, right? So, and if you're a concealed carrier and the potential of keeping you out of prison and keeping you alive, then you need to get the best within reason, right? I would say within reason, because the human body hasn't changed. It's really easy to still stop people in Minecraft with federal HST and an RMR and a Glock 19, right? So the human body isn't changing just because the dots are changing. But if it's significant enough and the performance is measurable, I still think within a reasonable timeline, right, based on your occupation, you should upgrade.
Yeah, so going back to your mall hypothetical where you like whiff the neighbor's dog or something in Minecraft, in that scenario where having a slightly bigger window makes you a better shooter to where you're not engaging with the wrong target, I just don't know if that scenario exists. I don't know if
But
there's
we're
a
not talking
scenario
about
where you can
window.
place.
We're talking about just objective performance. We're talking about
What are you talking about
hypothetically
that's
that
gonna?
enough tolerances have been stacked where your performance is objectively better. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about
I think that's a made up scenario, dude. I
but
think
it's
that's a
not
made
because
up scenario
competition
in your
shooting
head.
exists.
If you came to me and said, "Hey, I just want something that will run off the sun 24/7 and I never have to change the battery," I would say that's valid. Then yeah, you got to go with the solar powered option. I think your scenario where people are just missing shots because they're running a Trichicon dot instead of a hollow sun, I think that's a fictional
It's
scenario.
not because missing
I'm
doesn't
sorry,
isn't
dude.
necessarily missing. You can still hit your intended target and it not be a fight stopping
Now it's
hit.
not missing. What is it?
Okay, let's say it's missing. Let's say it's missing. When stressors increase and tolerances stack, objective performance matters. And for you to say, oh, well, it doesn't matter, you understand that a little thing called USPSA exists, and it's been proven that your RMR is outdated. With higher stress and faster split times, the RMR is objectively a worse dot for most shooters, the vast majority of shooters. So to say, oh, well, I don't care about the neighbor's dog, that neighbor's dog is about to put you in prison for the rest of your life. So you might want to care about it if you're a concealed carrier. And to have this passive,
You're,
like you have a very passive, like, well, in this bullshit scenario where 4 out of 5 rounds doesn't get it done, dude, it's a very realistic scenario. It's happened recently where a dude with a three.
I just want to save a couple $100, dude. That's fine. That's fine. But your argument that like the absolute top shooters in the world are not going to be able to perform with RMR dot for a pistol engagement, I would just need to see the evidence on that, dude.
You're okay. Let's take Trigicon and Holocene out of it. A and B. We have A and B thing.
No, that's what we're talking about. That's the whole thing we're talking about.
But what you're saying,
you can't take that out of it.
What you're saying is you're so caught up in this dot scenario when it is literally objectively speaking, again based on performance, it is a better dot. So it's a very realistic scenario.
So you got to cite that for me, dude. See, that's where we're at. You've got to cite your source on that for me, because I don't think one of the best shooters in the world, if you give Ben RMR and a Glock and say, hey, Ben, here's the
he's going to perform better with the 507 comp because he said so in many videos that he does.
Okay.
That exact example has already backfired on you. He says that he likes the 507 comp better than the SRO. Because he even says the SRO sucks.
I think it comes down to, like, it just seems very hyperbolic to say that because you are running something that is, let's say, slightly obsolete, that you will now fail. I think that is a little extreme to say. I would say that I would.
How do you measure failure,
perfect
though?
World scenario.
You guys are measuring failure at 7 feet with a USPSA target. Am I still hitting cardboard? That is how I can see Protraban. Protraban is measuring failure based on, I'm going to say shooter ready, stand by, beep, and can I put 5 rounds still on the target at a somewhat close distance. What you're not thinking is higher stress, extended range, and the best option matters when the time counts. Outside of all of this, choosing the best option is what matters. Performance is what matters. And getting caught in, well, I'm going to defend the Trigicon RMR to the death because it's not a significant amount of margin increase. Maybe for you, but if you shot more and you put more rounds, you would eventually want the bigger window with the better dot to give it, laser focus on the dot argument. If it was, hey, 14.5 versus 12.5 and all the reasons and your performance, and you're making the argument, well, for me 12.5 is just good enough, but you've never shot to 600. That's what's happening here. You're saying, well, I've never been in a mall shooting, I've never shot 4 out of 5 rounds that hit and 1 miss, so because it's never happened to me, it's not possible. When what I'm telling you is the window is better, the battery life is better, the durability is better, the optics mounting solution is better, and it just happens to be made in China. But you can't get over the fact that yours has never had an issue and it's made in America. That is what I'm seeing.
And the difference is, the marginal difference is not worth it to me turning your back on your country. That's just where we're at. And Trench, what does Lucas Botkin run? Are you aware of what his primary setup is?
I believe he runs an SRO. I'm also aware that he has never won a competition.
Good enough for Lucas.
I have won more competitions than Lucas. So if we're citing pedigree, I have won more competitions than Lucas. I have won more competitions.
Huge claim coming out here.
I am an EIC
coming out on the Trench Grenade channel.
I am an EIC bronze pistol badge holder. Is he? Has he won a USPSA match? I have.
That's a question for you guys.
But you are following him based on clout. You're saying, well, Lucas runs it, so it must be good enough for me. I mean, I'm
just providing a counter example to your Stoker argument that you've been bringing up, dude.
Dude, what I'm saying is,
you've been riding.
I guarantee you that Lucas picked his dot based on his performance, not based on what's happening in the market, based on the fucking stocks and the politics behind it. Because guess what? He's using an Austrian
that made in America. I promise that made in America matters to Lucas. And there's a
Why is he running an Austrian Glock?
Product.
Why is he using an Austrian Glock then? Why does he drive a Toyota?
Are we at war with Austria?
Why does he drive a Toyota?
Something. Is Austria trying to supplant us as the world power?
Why does he drive a Toyota?
Taiwan?
Why does he drive a Toyota?
Let me know, what is Austria doing, Trench?
I think we're talking too much in extremes. I think that's what's happening.
I'm talking in literal choices, because he's saying he picked his American-made dot because it was made in America, that he's shooting on his Austrian Glock and riding in his Toyota or his Tacoma or whatever the fuck Toyota 4Runner he drives. So to say, oh, he picked the dot because it's made in America, I guarantee you he picked it based on performance.
Right, and he picked the SRO. Good night, lady. ladies and gentlemen. But you are aware too, Trench, that Glock also makes pistols in America, in Georgia.
Whoa, groundbreaking. But are they founded in America? Are they founded in America though? They're an Austrian company. They're an Austrian company,
but the performance, most people are going to argue that the performance for a Glock pistol, whether it's stamped USA or Austria on the side, is going to be about the same. I mean, you are aware of that, right?
So your argument right now is that because X company makes some things a very small percentage based on an American market in America, that they are now an American company. That is your point you're trying to make? They are an Austrian company, dude. Just because Toyota makes some Tacomas in the United States and Michigan doesn't mean they're an American company. That's called a contract. You understand that, right? Since you're talking down to me now, apparently. Like,
well, when you're like super pro China, you're gonna get a little bit from me, dude.
It's not pro China. It's pro performance. I've said that 100 times throughout this argument. It's pro performance. Pro performance.
So you're telling me China is run better than us because they don't have to vote every 4 years? Is that not what you said?
Their decision making is better than the United States, as their leaders are able to focus on the long term better than the 4-year terms. This has been widely accepted based on our own politicians, on people that work at freaking Fox News and Tim Pool and Tucker Carlson and all the people. They have said that they're able to make decisions long term, focusing on 15, 20, and 30 years because their politicians stay in the seat longer and are not focused on re-election cycles every 4 years like the United States. That is a fucking objective truth. You're telling me?
I will agree that we need to continue to work on our own country. Nobody said we're perfect, but that's just the world we live in. I don't think anyone looks at our political system right now and says, yeah, that's totally perfect. But you know what? That's where we live, and that's where I was born, and that's where we vote every November. Okay? So I'm not going to throw everything out with the bathwater, especially when the performance is so close. You're acting like the performance is like here and here. Dude, it's here and here. And
but the example was 4 out of 5 rounds. The example was 4 out of 5 rounds.
And that is a trench creation example. I don't know if there's any example in the real world where a trained operator could not get the job done with an RMR versus a hollow sun, whatever.
Easy. You stack tolerances fast enough. You can set up any drill to prove your point based on weaknesses of a product. Whatever the product is, you can pick a drill to prove weaknesses.
What we should do is not run free R&D for the PLA. We should buck up and get an RMR or an HD or a EOTech or a whatever you want, because at some point it does matter. You're saying it's 1%. To me, it's like 50 to 100%. It has to be that much different before I would turn my back on our country.
Not when the product.
I think I generally would agree that if we talking performance absolution, I mean, I get that, man. I in most scenarios I'm gonna want the best possible thing, but I don't live in that world where I'm gonna live my life as if any specific second the absolute pinnacle of something is going to immediately matter. And I get,
it doesn't.
I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, a very, I'm gonna say, like you said, I'm gonna need a moderate increase in something for me to want to turn away from buying American when I can. It's gonna need at least be a moderate increase, and to say that the less than 5% increase isn't gonna be enough for me. Like I think there's very few scenarios that you could put together where realistically that 5% is going to matter for most people.
Can we?
That's where I'm at with it.
Can we all agree that more training is more better than less training?
I think, yeah, I would say that more training, if you're training correctly, is going to be better than less. Absolutely.
So if a $360,
I don't think anyone will argue with that.
So if a $360 optic, right, compared to, I'm going to pull it up right now, $623. If you can get what number did I say first? 369. Let's say
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm gonna round and say it's double the
620.
price.
360 to 620.
Mhm.
Double. That is a case and a
Real
half
quick,
of ammo.
Where's that at, Trench?
I'm on
Where's
PSA.
that at, Trench? Just real
PSA.
quickly.
PSA's website. Holosun 507 comp and Trigicon RMR. I got 623 and I believe 360 is the number I said. So double. You're going to pay double for less performance? That's a case of ammo, dude. You're going to pay double for less performance. You're paying double for American made. You're going to tell the audience right now.
So,
I'm going to be very clear about this.
The Chinese?
You have, we'll say Glock 19. Glock 19 and whatever extra budget goes to training and ammo. You're going to tell me you're going to pay double the price of a bad dot that has less features than a fucking Holosun because it says made in China. That's your argument? Because it's double the price for outdated. It's outdated. That's fact. That's your argument tonight.
So
not only is it double,
I'm not going to give you that it's outdated. I'm not going to give you that it's outdated. But I will
can you
give you
change the battery by the side? Can you change the battery by the side? Does it mount better? Does the optic plate, is the optic actually more durable? Does it have a better battery life? Then it's outdated, dude. Does it have different color options? Does it have different dot brightness settings? That is the fucking performance that matters. So you're paying double the price, double the fucking price for a made in America dot. That is fucking retarded. You should go spend some more time buying ammo rather than wasting your money on American made. Period.
I would buy triple the price. I would buy triple the price for our freedom, buddy. That's how much it's worth to me.
Guess what? We already have B-2 bombers. We already have the United States Army, and we already have the Marine Corps. We're already gonna fucking win, dude. The defense budget is already set. We're already gonna fucking win.
Are we gonna win? You're telling me we were infiltrated, dude. You just said we were infiltrated.
I made a factual statement. I made a factual statement that we were infiltrated. Prove me wrong. General Milley was giving American secrets to the Chinese. True or false? While he was in his position. You're getting proven wrong again. That's 2 points in a row.
That is true.
Okay, so you're fucking wrong.
That is
so
true.
You're fucking wrong.
And it is
mic drop, bitch. You're wrong.
For us to support America.
Cool. You're wrong.
It's even more important for us to support our own people if that is true.
You're wrong.
And do you not see that?
You're wrong. You're wrong. Now you have
dude, I know you like the Holosun dots. It's fine, dude.
But the point is,
fine that you like Holosun, dude.
If a product is better objectively and half the price, you buy the better product. If it's better objectively and half the price, you buy the better product. You're telling me?
To me, it's not that much better objectively. That's just the difference, dude.
I'll ask a question so I can kind of word this or think about this in a way that's a little more applicable to me. Are Surefire flashlights, are they made in America?
Surefire is an American-made company, and Streamlight is a Chinese-made. That's a good example.
Okay.
Surefire, right, still has the night vision capability to beat out the Streamlight. That is a fact. They still have the night vision capability with the vampire head to beat out. Now, in 10 years, if we're having the same conversation based on Streamlight and Surefire, but we're not there yet, but in 10 years, if we're there, then guess what I'm buying? I can't show you, but I have a Surefire right here. I didn't buy it because it was made in America. I bought it because it's the best light. X300 is the best light on the market right now. If you like the TLR1, well, it's slightly less reliable and has slightly worse performance based on candela and lumens, right, to use that specific example. But once we get to that point, if I see Protraban walking around with a Surefire that costs $600 or $300, and there's a Streamlight that costs $150 with better performance in this fictional scenario, I'm gonna fucking laugh at him then too. Is not outdated, is still a good option.
Man, and I'm just not going to ball wash this company over a slightly millimeter different window size. You have to take it off to change the battery. Who really cares, dude? You know how long the batteries last in these?
That is not the only point. That's the problem with your argument. You're taking 1 point. You're so concerned about the battery.
You can take all the points, dude. You can take all the points. You can tell me that the Holosun gives you a free unicorn when you buy it. I'm still not buying it.
Okay. Well,
for half the price.
Well,
for me
Chad has weighed in. You've weighed in. Bones has weighed
Supporting
in.
my country instead of PLA is worth paying. I mean, I just think you're wrong, dude. You're in the fucking army, and you're saying you're shilling these Chinese dots.
Hold on, pause.
You know they're connected to Luoyang,
Hold
right?
on.
Have you read that report?
You understand the statement you just made? I'm not saying I would, but I am not shilling Chinese dots. Am I sponsored by Holosun or any company that sells it? So that is fucking bullshit. I am not shilling.
Okay, so what's your opinion on Chinese dots versus America? Because it sure seems like you've been shilling them through this whole stream, dude. What's your official opinion then?
What is the definition of shilling? Am I getting paid by Holosun in any company? I have no affiliations at all. That is the definition of a shill.
Dude, they have been deep-throated by you for this entire stream. Are you kidding?
Shilling implies I'm making money, does it not? Bones, what is shilling to you? Am I making...
I will look up the... I think shilling is just when you are advertising something for personal gain.
I have no personal gain. Nothing to gain from this. Is that what the definition is? Because that is a bold claim.
Okay, so if you want to play the word game and get pedantic,
shilling,
then I'll say no. You're not shilling the Chinese dots, but you sure are promoting them over a very viable alternative.
What I'm doing is giving my opinion. And my opinion is based on reality and facts. That is half the price.
Money is all that matters to you, dude. Just say money is all that matters to me. That's fine. There's a lot of people that live their entire lives where money is the number one goal.
Performance.
And you know what? They go to the grave maybe not so happy.
Are you fucking deaf? I said performance is what matters.
No, I disagree with you there too. I don't think
you can disagree all you want, but you're wrong. You're wrong.
Okay.
You're fucking wrong. You can agree and be wrong. You're wrong. Performance is what I said.
Okay.
Not money.
I said I'm wrong a million times, so that must make it true.
And you just called me a shill. You literally just called me a shill. When you don't even... Shill means I have a personal gain.
Somebody could watch this stream back and say that you're a Holosun shill. Yeah, now are you selling them yourself? No. But are you out there repping them aggressively? I think that's what most people understand shill to mean. I'm not saying you're a shill like these guys like Colgan like we're talking about. I don't think you're actually selling them. Are you aggressively...
I am going to look up the definition of shill.
100%.
I'm going to look up...
the shill is generally like an informal term, so I think there's some subjectiveness to it.
An accomplice or a hawker, a gambler, a swindler who acts enthusiastic customer to entice or encourage others. A person who pretends to give impartial endorsement. I am not pretending. I'm telling you what I use. To say that I'm shilling is disingenuous, dishonest, and misrepresenting my point. And to say that cash is all that I care about is also misrepresenting my point. You are misrepresenting me, sir. I am telling you it is a better objective optic. That we have proven already. You have already agreed that it is a better optic. Now, we can both agree that China is worse, but you are misrepresenting my point. And I'm not going to sit here and have you call me a shill when that is not objectively true. That is a lie. You are lying. I am not a shill for Holosun.
You're deep-throating Holosun. How's that? Is that accurate enough for you?
How am I deep-throating Holosun?
Well, I think Trench is saying that
you're trying to get a clip
values
here. We're getting some lag here.
May I
clip all you want, dude.
I'll say that I think Trench is saying that he values performance ultimately over anything
money.
else.
I've heard him yell the half price at me about a dozen times.
Because you said if it was close.
So just say you like it because it's cheaper, dude.
You said if it's close enough to support America and it's not significant, your own words, then you would choose America. But then later,
it's a couple $100 one-time purchase.
But then Then later in the argument, wasn't that much. I would always support American over Chinese.
You are for supporting an enemy on the world stage just because it's cheaper. My freedom is worth more than saving $200 one time.
You lost
My freedom
the plot
is worth
again.
more than having a slightly bigger window and having a battery that changes from the side. That's worth it to me. It is not worth it to you. Just say that. That's fine, dude. If you want to rep Holosun because you like the solar feature, if you like it because it's cheaper, that's fine. Don't get yourself all twisted and say that the most elite operators are all using HoloSun because it's a better dot and it'll save your life. Or if you have an RMR, you're going to shoot a dog in the mall. That's retarded, dude. You understand that,
Again,
right?
you went back. You're not quoting me. You're misquoting me again.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, we can pull it up. Dude.
This is what I've said, verbatim. I value performance.
Tell me.
I value performance. I value performance over money.
I do, but not more than American made. You value. What does that mean? You value performance over money? Because aren't you talking about saving money?
I have never once said I cared about saving money. I only made the money point because you said you were willing to spend more money on a worth optic. That is where money got brought up into this.
But to me, it's not worse, Trench.
To
me, it's every bit as good,
just
fine. As good.
I don't
care
that
there's
fine.
no solar. I don't care that the battery changes.
The Holo 7507 comp doesn't have solar. It doesn't have solar. You keep bringing up solar. It doesn't have solar. I have admitted, I have said,
I don't care about solar.
Protraban, I have said, I understand that you are okay with having a worse optic and you want to support America. But then I've said that's fine. As long as you understand that objectively speaking, it has a smaller window, worse features, it's a worse dot. Then you try to say I'm shilling for HoloSun and anti-American. That is the type of point you're trying to make right now. And it's crazy to be anti-American. It's a bold claim to call me a shill and say that I'm repping HoloSun. That is a bold claim. I'm not repping HoloSun. I don't make any money from HoloSun. I don't make any money off of this. I don't make any money to carry any certain product. So to say that I'm shilling,
and by shilling and repping, I just mean you're promoting their reputation.
But can we agree that words matter?
I'm not saying you have a trunk full of HoloSuns on the side, dude.
But you said I was shilling for them.
You have been aggressively defending them. I would use the term shill. For me, that fits under the umbrella of shill. I know there's not a store called trenchgrenade.com where you can go buy a bunch of HoloSuns.
I'm about to, because, and I'm going to meme on you, because words mean things, dude. Words mean things. And for you to say, I'm repping HoloSun and I'm shilling for HoloSun. That is what you said.
You do not want to play the word game on this stream. Trust me, brother.
Do words mean things?
You do not want to go back and parse words. I promise that.
Your statement was inaccurate. That's what I'm asking you to apologize, or at least say that your statement was inaccurate for saying that I'm a shill for HoloSun. That is what I'm trying to get out of you.
Tell me what you believe about HoloSun, and I will judge it accordingly.
I don't care about HoloSun as a company. I don't care about them at all. I wish that they were an American company, but they're not. I think that their marketing is cringe as fuck. I think that the Ronin line is all cringe. I think that a lot of the shit they do is cringe, but I do think right now they make the best dot on the market. That is my only thing for performance.
But do you understand that? But do you understand they are a major geopolitical threat in the coming few decades for us?
Do you think based on my occupation, do you think I understand?
I would sure hope you do, dude.
Okay,
so let me ask you this.
Why don't we ask real questions then? Don't fucking ask these baby questions. I literally am in the army. So don't you think I understand China's a threat?
Would you rather give $300 to the PLA or $600?
That is.
I'll say that if I can give some input.
Go ahead, because that question.
I'd like to hear an answer.
I'm not giving it to the PLA. I'm buying a product. Right?
Oh, brother, it might not be all 300, dude, but some's going there.
I'm buying a product.
That works?
I'm buying the best product on the market that I have experience with.
But this is the whole point. This is the point of the whole stream. Listen to this. You're not just buying a product. You're supporting every single stage for that product to get there. And you're supporting the ownership of that product. It's not just buying a product, dude. It's for a gun, a tool to defend life and liberty.
That's why you want the best one. That's why you want the best one. You just made my point. Go ahead, Bones.
I'll give some input if I can. So, like, for me, performance is important, yes, but, like, in this world, right, let's just talk pistol stuff. I have a Streamlight pistol light on my pistol.
Hold on, let
Surefire
Protraban
probably
panic.
does give.
Hold on, let Protraban panic because you bought a
I
freaking.
don't.
You're shilling now. Now all of a sudden Bones is shilling for Streamlight because he uses it. That's literally what you
Well,
did
I'm not.
earlier,
I don't.
Protraban. That's literally what you
I'm
did.
not gonna say that, Trench.
It's literally what you
Trench,
said about
I
me. It's what you said about me.
because you've been bending over backwards to make every single excuse.
Yeah, sorry that I actually
deep throat
shoot the
this
gun
company
and it's
on the
better than the
stream.
one that you use, objectively speaking. And I gave you the out and said, hey man, if you like it, use it. If you want to support American, use it. But then you started accusing me. That is what I had a problem with. To be very clear, I don't give a fuck that you like the product. You can like American products and only buy American. But when you started calling me a shill, that is what I had a problem with in this discussion. To be very clear, because when I said what he just said, you said, oh, now you're shilling. You would have said, oh, you're shilling for Streamlight. Bones is shilling for Streamlight. That's what you came at me with.
Let me say. Oh, let me hold on. Let me address this because this is important because you brought this up, Trench. To the extent that I've used the word shill, and if you have taken that a certain way to mean there's a financial incentive beyond you just saving money on the dot, I apologize. I could have used a different word than shilling. I just think you are so aggressively defending this company. And I just want to ask you this. Is it fair to say you are emotionally invested in Hollow Sun?
No. Because I like the RMR.
No?
I like the RMR. That's the thing that this whole conversation started. I have an RMR on a dagger that I tested. I have an RMR on a Shadow Systems, and I have an RMR on my ACOG. I like that dot. I like the RMR. The point I was making is for my handgun specifically the gun that's right here that has a Surefire light, but it does have a 507 comp on my staccato. I said it has better performance for me. Now the price got brought in later that it happens to be half the price. When I looked it up and it had half the price, that's when the price got brought in. To be very clear about foreign policy, if tomorrow ROE was lifted and I got told I could go jump into freaking Beijing and kill the enemy and close with and destroy the enemies of this country, I would take the 507 comps in my assault pack, yes, because they're better. But I would still love to do that job. So to say that I'm like anti-American, I'm pro Holosun, I don't give a fuck about them, dude. I don't like the Chinese. The Taiwan situation, them being communist, socialist, controlling their people, the COVID-19, where they literally created a virus and weren't held accountable. I fucking hate the Chinese, just like everyone else hates the fucking Chinese. But you, again, right? I'm trying to calm down here because I know things have got a little crazy because we're buddies, and I want to say you're going to be my buddy after this, right? But to say I was a shill,
it's all good, man.
To say that I was a shill was what I got upset about, right? To say, oh, well, you're shilling.
And I didn't mean you're literally selling them out of the trunk of your car. I could have used a different word, Trent. You understand what I'm trying to say about? I would say you're defending the company aggressively.
I would say,
is that fair?
It would be safe to say I'm the 507 comp of that biggest defender. That would be hilarious.
You are the strongest Holosun defender. And you know what? I respect for sticking to what your guts are, dude.
For one of their optics.
For 507 comp. Dude,
I will be their biggest defender. I'll take that. I will take that.
And I know Ben Stager loves him. Ben's got him, and he's got the Vortex on. That's fine to me, dude. My whole point, though, is if I see Lucas Bakken pulling out the SRO, it's probably good enough for Protraband. Okay, and I feel better about purchasing it.
That's fine.
Can you put a price on feels? Feels, not reels?
No.
I'll pay double. Am I a sucker for paying double? Sure. Is there huge profit in there? Are they greedy? Absolutely. They go crazy with the military pedigree. Look at what SIG did the last decade, saying we have the military pedigree. They sell us these shitty fucking 320s for $650. We know from the Army documents it costs them about $200 to make.
Yeah. And okay, I agree. So I agree with you.
That does happen, absolutely.
And feels 100%. Do mean a lot.
Just for me, Protraband, I feel better with an RMR or an SRO. Not everybody does. You know, I'll eat Chinese takeout. It'll be fine. You know, so that's just where we're at. That's the difference. And I'm not arguing with you about the feature.
No, I think that's a very good take. I agree with that take. There's sometimes when I leave the range, if I had a malfunction with a certain gun, even in the feels, right, doesn't feel good, so I might not carry that gun. I might choose something that, you know, and that's where I can kind of meet you halfway there, where feels do mean things, right? Especially with firearms, and especially with buying American, it feels good to go to a mom and pop shop or an American-made company like Trigicon and say, hey, I'm buying a good optic and I'm buying an RMR, I'm buying a good optic and it feels good because fuck the enemies of this country and it feels good. I can meet you halfway and I can accept your decision on that. I can.
I appreciate that, Trench. I know that I know you're not a shill, right? I mean, I'm not saying you're bought off by anybody.
I'm not,
Pretty sure that's
if
a
I
fact.
was, there would be like a hollow sun. Like it would be hilarious. There would just be like a floating hollow sun up here. But
You have a neon sign in the background.
I just want to say for chat,
Primary
right?
arms
This is
on the bottom.
this was a heated debate because I want to let Bowens talk. I just want to say for chat and for everyone that ever watches this, I only want the best for Protraban, and I value his opinion, and I think that's why it got heated. But it really only got heated for me, but based on the whole shill thing. Okay, so back to everything else. I love your Protraban, and I know things got heated there, but I just was like, whoa, I'm not a. I made it because I've kind of made my channel the deal where I don't have any sponsorships. I've denied a ton, dude. I've dumped PSA, I've dumped Optics Planet, I've dumped Sportsman's Warehouse, and a ton of others. I've dumped them all. I don't have any sponsors. So when you were like, you're shilling it, that's why I was like, hold the fuck on. We can't go past this, right? But I can totally meet you halfway where it's like it feels good to have a good product that's also American made, even if it's a little overpriced, and that sucks that it is. I can meet you halfway there.
No, and I know you're not a shill. Could I have used a different word there, Trench? I'll absolutely say that. I mean, we make fun of. I mean, that's kind of our whole thing. We make fun of these channels, like Military Arms, that have a primary arms and the logo in the bottom the whole fucking time. Bought and paid for. And I would never suggest that of you or your integrity. I genuinely believe that you think the Holosun is the better dot. I would never want to throw any shade on that at all. It's just a different, I mean, and you have them both. Like you said, I have both. I have a Holosun titanium. I have RMR, so I have primary arms.
Bones is up.
On my pistol and on my rifle, the spending $300-400 isn't quite worth it on a white light to me, and the performance that I get. So I'm not opposed to that, but I will support an American company when I can. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Like I'm happy that the RXM's made in the U.S. That's very based of them. And if Glock in theory was a purely American company. And then the RXM was made in China and it was cheaper, I'm not sure I'd buy one because I'm happy with the reduced feature set for an American company. So I see both sides, and you gotta look after yourself. And money's important, and everybody's on a budget, and but it does help to support thy country when you can too. So. That's where
well, everyone's been squeezed. I know everybody's kind of been getting fucked over, especially since COVID. The inflation. Mm-hmm. Oh, inflation,
Inflation's huge.
I get it. Dude, I feel for you. And if you're like, dude, I absolutely have to have a red dot. I'm a broke bastard, but I absolutely need one. Sure, dude, and it stings. And I don't have as many Trigicon products as I like. I don't have anywhere near the gun room or whatever, these Gucci setups that I would like. But it's just, to me, the values thing, it is important, and I know, Trent, you recognize that as well. So it's
it feels good to buy.
Great stream.
We have a ton of supers to read. If you guys want to, I guess.
I was gonna say we got super chats we could knock out.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah. Okay. These are gonna be so. We're not gonna let these reignite tensions. Yeah, I'm gonna go way back here. We'll start reading these here. Focus trip.
Trench, I appreciate that we can have this conversation and then come back and say,
dude, we're boys.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, we're boys, man.
The homies are real.
We literally, between Bones, Ben Stager, Protraban, what's that dude? I forget his tagline in the group chat.
Uncle OG?
The downfall, not Uncle OG. The Cook Club. Freaking Focus trip. Yeah. Dude, trust me. It's all love. Here we go. Focus trip for $2 says, I can't stop laughing in all caps. Okay. Yeah, that got heated. I'm sure there's going to be some like third party that clips it and it's like, this guy's, he's wrong about the RMR and he's a freaking Chinese defender and he's a communist. It's going to be wild. Focus trip for $2 says,
making the drama subreddit.
Correct. Focus Trip for $2 says, Bones, shut up, let them fight. Thanks for that. Focus Trip again.
Mom and dad are fighting.
Yep, mom and dad are fighting. Focus Trip again for $2. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be Uncle for the situation we gave earlier, right? It would be an
With
uncle.
JD Vance in the corner watching Trump and Elon
Dude.
give each other black eyes.
And my favorite was Bones was like trying to like, well, I think what he's trying to say on both sides and trying to like steer us back, but I was like, fuck it.
Trying to be the middleman, and trying to be neutral. No, let's fight. Fuck you.
Oh my gosh, dude. Scrolling down here.
Dude, this is great. Where else could you do this? Where else could you get this entertainment?
Not in China.
Exactly.
Nobody is real enough to do this. No one's real enough to have this conversation.
Not in China. There's no freedom of speech in China. And yes, the other gun tubers out here, gun tubers, dude, they're not gonna go live with a glass of whiskey and the boys and talk about this. They're not gonna do it, dude. They're not gonna come out here and just speak. And it's okay to be wrong as long as you get to the understanding of like whatever decision is made. Okay, I see why you choose the RMR or whatever, right? You know, or why I'm wrong about supporting the PLA. You know, indirectly supporting them. Like, oh, there's going to be guys that are like, hey, I don't like that about Trench, and that's fine. You know, people are entitled to their opinion, right? SV89 for $2 says, Trench, Holosun, China, crash out is fucking mint. Yeah, that got wild. That got wild, dude. Crash it out. Thank you for the super chat.
SV89, we love him. He loves people of all color, I think. I'm pretty sure.
Allegedly.
SV89, a very based individual.
What I've heard.
CK11esque says, for $5, says, although in theory Balaclava Boy is correct, I bet we could look through his house and find dozens of Chinese-made products, aka supporting the PLA. Show me the man, we'll show you the crime, right? He probably may have consumed something today that was from China, but I think the point, and I'll let him talk in a second, is I think when he comes to a decision making point and he can consciously support America over an adversary or whatever, he's going to choose America. I think is his point.
If you can, and I'm talking to you on a MacBook right now, it's an American company. I'm very well familiar with it. It's designed by Apple in California, assembled in China.
You're a shill.
Tim Cook, I think yes, I'm a shill. Dude, I'm never living it down. I think Tim Cook is trying to build more plants in America because Trump is bullying him to doing that or something. But I hope that happens. I'm just saying, when you have a chance, your dollars really matter, guys. And this is why T-Rex Arms is spurging out, and they've got Captain Sleepy man-spreading in the corner trying to tell you what a good Marine is, because they're dying because you're not spending money on them. So you guys have the power to make stuff live and die based on where you swipe that card. Just realize that.
Yeah.
That's all. Rant over.
Bones, anything on that?
I was reading chat and spaced out a little bit.
You're good.
But, it's true though that I'd say when you can, spend your dollars in America. When you can't, I get it. I think it's. I'd be lying if I didn't say I didn't have Chinese things in my house right now.
Wait, that painting is Chinese. You son of a bitch.
This painting it's made by my best friend. Actually,
that's nice.
Fun fact: homegrown in America here. All right, go ahead. What's the next one?
I bet the paint was made in China. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, SV89.
You know what? Maybe it was.
For $2, SV89, what we were talking about earlier, and what we talk about a lot offline is a lot of these, the Leviathan is dead, guys. These guys are not genuine. So they might make a statement one day, and then they wake up tomorrow, and they're like, oh, wait, I said the SRO was good yesterday? What I meant to say was this other company is paying me now. So they can't keep their story straight because they're, changing their opinion every day. So for me, I can only speak for myself. I have no sponsors, and I'm just going to say whatever the fuck if tomorrow I wake up and I want to do a video on whatever, that's what I do, right? Focus Trip for $2 says, does Trench have a Chinese tramp stamp? Listen. I have a lot of bad tattoos, but I cannot say that I have a Chinese tramp stamp. Let's see. Panzer says for $2, thanks for the super chat. Trigicon steals our, I believe you meant to say, tax money. They don't need us. You can make that argument for anybody, though. You know what I mean? Like, Trigicon is probably multiple billion-dollar company because of the contracts. They probably have done
I think
shady.
that just boils down to just greed bad. Company greed bad in company, and if you're gonna, you've got government contracts and your price inflating because Uncle Sam's gonna foot the bill. That sucks, for sure.
Yeah, no, nobody likes that. People just
Mhm.
getting rich off the taxpayer.
I think that's universal. That goes back to like the whole like Lucas Botkin thing, right? Like that situation with T-Rex, it's obvious to the average dude that he was wronged, right? So like, it just feels bad if if a company is stealing money, feels bad, doesn't feel good, right? Back to the feels.
And I agree, it's going to be really tough for Trichicon going forward, and there's a non-zero chance that they're not around unless they get certain things in gear. So I agree with you there on that one.
Truth.
Let's see. Madden Williams, 3488 for 499 says the only people we should be angry at are the boomers for shilling cheap labor. Maybe we should try to take away their social security. I think social security
Very
is, yeah, I think social security is already a dying concept anyway, right?
Well, I don't know. This is going to piss off a lot of people, and
Here
I'm
we
sure this
go.
will come back to haunt me.
Part 2.
When I run for office, just because you're old does not mean you get a sack of cash handed to you for nothing. Okay, you should already have your house paid off. You should already have your car paid off. If you get to like 65 and you're like, oh, I've got nothing, dude, your life was a failure. Like, I'm sorry, but just get it together a little bit.
You done
there we
fucked
go.
up.
Pissed off another age group. So
I mean, yeah,
I love it.
Thanks for the $5. Let's see. Here we go. Madden Williams again for $4.99 says, "What is your guys' thoughts on Overton Windex pushing the Siley and Avalon optics?" I mean, I don't know anything about Overton Windex other than he thought it would be a good idea to go on a live and drop certain words allegedly, right? So I don't necessarily, I'm not an Overton Windex enjoyer. I've had people in my community make other accusations based on him potentially lying about some long distance engagements being fake. But all that to say, if the product isn't tried, tested, and proven and isn't good, regardless of who makes it, obviously, I don't think it's a good idea. So Siley Optics, if they're not making a good product, I don't have any experience with them, but I would never buy them because I don't have any experience. So
I don't think Siley's proven. I recognize that Hollow Sun, to the extent the pedigree is out there, they have much more pedigree. Name brands like Siley or whatever. All these clones are popping up too. That's the other thing. China.
Bones, any thoughts on Siley or anything?
I've never owned any of their stuff, so I don't. Is it a company that's based in the U.S. but manufactures in China? I mean, I never bought one. I don't know if I've ever seen a Siley before, to be honest. So this is why I generally don't do reviews on my channels, because I don't buy a lot of stuff, and I don't keep I figure out what works for me and I keep an open mind, but I usually don't have a ton of experience with a lot of different products, and that's kind of where I'm at with it. So
they are based.
I will not speak on things I don't know about.
They're primarily based in China with a presence in Kansas City. Is not an American company. They sell specifically red dots and offer lifetime warranty. Blah blah blah. I mean,
I know Siley donated $500 in Focus Trips chat once, and that was kind of funny.
Based. Siley. Hey, come on over here. This is about as much shilling as you're gonna get. Hey, come on over.
Siley is the best optic,
best company.
Best dot I've ever seen. I'm running them all right now.
Holy cow. Okay. Well, we made it through the super chats. We made it through the 507 Comms Greatest Defender of All Time debate. Is there anything else you guys want to cover before we get out of here?
Honestly,
did we forget anything?
I mean, we've got stuff we can always go live again and touch on some more subjects for sure.
Yeah.
I think we're at a good closing point here. Everybody made up. We kissed at the end, and we've had some good discussions. We got a little wild. It was a good time. Good points were brought up on both sides. Take care of yourself. Take care of your country when you can. Don't fall for the shills on YouTube. Educate yourself, and hey, I think we're at a good point here. Unless you guys got anything else yourselves.
No, thanks, Trench, for having me on. I love you. We'll continue to be boys, and we are aggressively independent. So much so that if
True.
somebody you're maligning the independents, they will unload. That's what we're here for. That's
Well,
the good stuff, man.
I have
I think we should do. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, without showing anything here, I have an M1 that may or may not pop up right there. I was gonna say next time I'll fix bayonets, and
Fix bayonets.
my pride has been, or my character has been threatened. Fix bayonets on channel, on stream.
White Monster is open. No, and I know that you're the solid dude, right? Trench, there's no character
That means a lot, dude.
issues at all. I don't think you can be bought, man. I know Sig wanted to bring you out to New Hampshire
Dude,
to do whatever.
they tried.
You turned it down.
Allegedly, they were doing some.
Scary.
Dude, they were doing the whole like, hey, I'm gonna text you, come on down, we'll fly you down, we'll show you the factory. They tried. It was obvious, and all I did was screenshot. Allegedly, no, actually, it's not alleged. They literally did that. They literally had a rep hit me up, try to say that, hey, you're a competitive army shooter, and I'm a competitive army shooter. We have a lot in common. Come on down and check it out. And if you need anything, let us know. Those were his exact words. And then he doubled down, tripled down, and then I just screenshotted and made a whole fucking thing about it. So, okay, well.
And then he was mad that you posted it. He's like, dude, why'd you post that? Well,
Dude.
I don't know. Sunlight is
stand by what you do. I mean, if you're an honest company and you're like, hey, we want to show you around, and somebody was like, look what they did, I'd be like, well, yeah, I mean, yes, we did do that. Duh. Like, why would I not? But the fact that they're upset is kind of like, oh, well, why would you be upset by that?
So the biggest SIG defenders, their argument was, why would you leak DMs? And my response to that is, if it's important enough for an industry that is trying to hide something, that needs to get leaked. If Bones texts me about a family issue tomorrow and I leak that, I should get destroyed for doing that. But this wasn't a personal thing. This was he said something in a private space that was not an actual private space because he was doing an industry manipulative, what I viewed as a manipulation tactic to take a small channel like myself and try to manipulate me into liking them again.
Yeah, and it's not personal information, not personal data, and it's trying to flex influence on the industry in a dishonest way. If they were just like, yeah, we wanted to bring you out, we thought it'd be cool, we value your content and stuff, like it wouldn't be a big deal. But the fact they responded the way they did, it's like, oh, very telling.
I should make one thing because things got heated earlier, and I made a statement that is accurate but could be misconstrued. So I want to add context. I made a statement that I am a more, I would say, more pedigree shooter in competition environments than Lucas. I have won more competitions to my knowledge and more awards than he has to my knowledge, as I'm an EIC bronze rifle badge holder and an EIC that stands for excellence in competition pistol badge bronze holder as well. Not an easy thing to do, both of the M4A1 service rifle and the M17. So when that got brought up, to my knowledge, I am I would say, I don't know, I have more awards and accolades than he does. He's an excellent shooter, obviously. He's Lucas Botkin. He's like the best, one of the best shooters that we know of, probably a better shooter than me, right? But in the competitions that I've won, that is the statement I think I made to Pro Triband earlier was, yeah, I have my EIC bronze in both rifle and pistol. That's really good for me, and really good for a lot of people, right? So
all I'm saying, Trench, is when the Skinny Jeans class of competition shooters comes out, you best be shaking in your boots, okay? Your day will have come if that ever happens.
Do not come. Do not come. What were we talking about? I totally forgot. Oh, yeah. Okay. We were talking about SIG. They tried to do some shady shit with me. Our integrity. Pro Triband was making a point that we basically don't have sponsors and we can say whatever we want, and that's what I think that's what we were discussing. So, okay, it's late.
Exactly.
During that argument, Nighthawk came in here and was like, "What is going on?
What is happening?"
Nighthawk, we're sorry. Big stream.
Big stream.
Got heated.
Get out of my room! I'm arguing with people online.
She came in. She was
You
like,
guys want to do You guys want to do dad advice at the end, since we're not morally compromised as far as we know?
I'm not a
It's
dad
multiple
though.
families.
I have 2 dogs, but
I'm also not a
True.
dad either.
Yeah, I guess we can't do dad advice.
I don't want
Yeah.
Focus strip is like the Jerry Springer. This is like the off-brand Maury. Something totally crazy. We've got
Yeah.
Cher's father. You are not the father.
Brother.
You are not the greatest Chinese Hollow Sun defender.
You are not the show.
That got interesting. I'm not gonna lie. Like looking back, it started normal as like a normal debate, and then it was like the whole politics thing got brought into it, and the supporting of America versus China, and then the boom. I guess when I went crazy was we already hit it, but I was like, what? Fuck Hollow Sun.
You're fucking. No, you fucking
No,
bloody bitch.
You don't fuck on me.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess any closing,
Alrighty,
that doesn't have to be
boy.
dad advice, but any closing, Protraman, what do you got going on? Any closing words of wisdom? Where can they find you? You know, any closing thoughts or statements for them?
I appreciate everybody. I just started doing this for fun. I didn't expect the SIG stuff to blow up like it did. But that voice was missing, and that's just what we gotta call it like we see it, guys. And the videos I do post SIG, it's like this many views, but I don't really care because it's just something that I enjoy doing, and hopefully you guys find some value in it as well. I appreciate Trench for having me on because you were like one of the first dudes reach out like, hey dude, check out Protraman. He's calling it about SIG, dude. Not a lot of big channels because of their brand deals are gonna want to do that. So dude, that's the way it is. I appreciate it, man.
Well, you're always welcome on here. I always put it in a couple different chats. Hey, if you want to come on and be a panel member, this isn't like a focus trip level live stream. This is just us hanging out and talking about stuff to make people aware, right? So just hanging with the boys. Yeah, cool. I had a point to make, but I totally lost it. Bones, what do you got going on? Oh, where can they find you? Obviously, your YouTube. I'll link it down
Just
below.
YouTube, Protraman.
Okay, cool. All right, Bones, what do you got?
It was a fun time to be on here, ladies and gentlemen. It was I think a lot of good was had. We got a little heated, but it shows that we're just people. We're people like everybody else on the platform. And I joined the platform, got into content creating on YouTube because I think there was a lot of either misinformation or things that people didn't quite understand when it came to firearms things and topics that really weren't being talked about, and there was a lot of cope and seething and gaps that I saw that I wanted to fill in with information. So on my channel, I'm not going to speak on something I don't know about, and I'm only going to make content that I would like to see that I think would be entertaining or adds value to the platform. I'm Bones Maloney on YouTube. It's spelled Bones and then Mallony. We just released a video on PCCs. It did ridiculously well. I'm very flattered. Next video is coming out. I think will be on the RXM because I finally have enough time behind it to really give a good opinion on it. And I was really happy to be here. It's always a good time. Trench, I'm flattered as always. You're one of the first gun tubers I really felt like was not like everybody else, and so for that to be a part of that, I am grateful.
I remember the point I was going to make. So about both Protraman and about doggone Bones. Bones got passionate about the PCC discussion, so he went out and made a video. Doggone Protraman, he got passionate about the Coliad Noir being a little bit weird. I won't speak for Protraman. I'll just say there was some weird stuff going on. Protraman got his phone out, got his camera out, made the content, uploaded it, edited it, and that is the transparency that we're looking for in this community, is guys willing to just get passionate and make a video. So that's why I always support Protraman, and that's why I always support Bones, because they see a topic and they just attack it. You know what I mean? So if we had more guys like that, then there would be no drama. It would just be me and Protraman yelling at each other about two proven optics and two countries that hate each other. But without further ado,
don't forget, we got Uncle OG2, who's the same way. He makes some really good videos about stuff that people have misunderstood a lot of the time. So hats off to that man too. He's currently touching grass.
Correct.
In the pool sounds like a good time. I'm sure he'll love watching back later.
He'll be like, thank God I left.
He's gonna be like, what? Things got crazy and I left. Yeah, you should have stayed.
Oh man.
Well, guys, if you got this far in the stream, all that we ask that you do is hit the like button. It helps out more than you know. Like we've discussed ad nauseum tonight, I have no sponsors at all. So if you want to support my channel, go over and join the Patreon. It's $5 a month, and it gets you access to a closed Discord server where we stay up late and have discussions just like this with the boys and a bunch of different channels in there. So do that. Join the Patreon. It helps out more than you know. Thanks for being here. And until next time, this is going to be Trench Grenade, your average Hollow Sun 507 comp specifically, greatest defender that your mom says that we have at home, signing out. Cheers.